Guys, that's DC and RC. You need to follow wherever you listen to all your podcasts.
WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WYNG studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
July 15th, it is. We're at the halfway point of the month of July. Where is time going? I'm telling you what, the All-Star game has come and passed for Major League Baseball. The Cincinnati Reds, well, they're actually a talking point as we head into the second half of the season. I can't tell you 2014, that was the last time. It's been quite a long time. The Reds 4 games back in the NL Central, 3.5 games back in the wild card. No games today. Actually, there's one game tonight, Yankees, Red Sox. And look, and I'm glad baseball is doing that because the one thing we as baseball fans don't get enough of is Yankees, Red Sox. So, congratulations to baseball fans. You're in for a treat. But tomorrow, everyone's back in action, including your Cincinnati Reds. And, what's really cool about that is that they have the Brewers coming right out of the gate at Great American Ballpark. That's who they trail on the NL Central. And that's what I wanted to open up with, was mainly because I got to thinking, yes, the Reds are a talking point as we head into the second half of the season. Yes, they are an interesting bunch. But, I started thinking about, okay, if the Reds had a 10-game lead in the NL Central right now, I'm sure you would like that, but I don't think that it would be very entertaining, right? Like, I kind of think that the chase of the championship, of the division title, of the playoff appearance, of the World Series is better than kind of knowing, like, this has been the big rap or the big, knock on basketball, especially during the Golden State Warrior era with Kevin Durant, was that, well, why are we tuning in? Why are we watching? We already know how this movie ends. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many of you out there can watch the same movie over and over and over. It just depends on me. I'm not a big rewatching a movie guy, but I could watch the same damn show over and over and over. I could watch Breaking Bad. I watch it religiously. That and The Office. I could watch The Office and Breaking Bad. It could pick up at some random episode. I don't have to watch them in order. Those two I could watch. I know the endings. I could literally voice I know the next word, the next line, everything. But we don't like that in sports. We can't handle that in sports. We don't like knowing how the movie ends. But yet, here's a great example. The Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten. I've said it for years now that the Ohio State Buckeyes have outgrown their own conference, that they have outgrown that conference to the point to where the second best team in the Big Ten doesn't even come close to measuring up to Ohio State. You look at the SEC. Sure, people get real defensive of the SEC when we say it's the best division in football, best conference in football. But the bottom line is that, yes, Alabama has created quite a gap between them and the rest of the SEC. But the gap between Alabama and Georgia and Alabama and LSU and Alabama and Auburn even is significantly smaller than the gap between Ohio State and everyone else in the Big Ten. Let's say it's Penn State. You look at the gap between Penn State and Ohio State. It's a tighter gap than Ohio State and the rest of the teams in the Big Ten. But you still look at the last 10 years, Iowa has more wins over Ohio State than Penn State does. Purdue has more wins over Ohio State than Penn State and Michigan do. Like, that's the gap. Right? Like, so that's what I always find fascinating is we love Buckeye football. We know how this is going to end. We know that Ohio State's going to be playing in Indianapolis in the Big Ten championship game, but yet we drool over Buckeye football. But me and you have talked about this before. Are the games entertaining?
No,
they're not. Half the time, at least for me, by the end of the first quarter, I just tune in just to feel the excitement of Buckeye football on, just to hear the call in the background, to hear the fans, to hear the cracking of the pads, to hear the best damn band in the land, to hear all of that. But overall, you get one entertaining game a year if you're lucky in the non-conference, and then maybe Penn State makes it interesting for 3.5 quarters before James Franklin screws it up at the end. And then I kind of enjoy the build-up to Michigan, but Jim Harbaugh has ruined that program so much that it's ruined that rivalry for me. I don't get all like gung-ho about it like everybody else does anymore. I have no problem admitting that. But the bottom line is I don't get amped up for a movie that I know the ending to. Think back to your favorite movies. You love what? You're all into the comic book movies and all that, right?
Avengers,
the Star Wars
game, Star Wars. Another one of my favorite movies is Goodfellas. Yeah, I love.
But see, the reason I can't, it's like if I know how those movies end, why is it such a big deal to go watch them? I guess the Titanic, everyone knew how that ended, and people still rushed to theaters to watch that back in the day. But the point is that for me, my favorite thing. So I watch the Blacklist is one of my favorite shows. Nora and I were watching the Blacklist finale the other day. I'm not going to give any spoilers away. But there are an Ozark and the Blacklist. These are the last two shows that I have watched where the finale made me scream a word that I'm not allowed to say on the air. Because, well, for one, we don't have the equipment to make sure I can say it on the air. Or so I've been told. But bottom line is like, it was amazing. I love those moments. I remember watching Breaking Bad. I mean, I told you I was sick for about 2 or 3 days. Well, I called into work because I had to finish Breaking Bad. It was unlike anything I'd experienced before. I had no clue where it was going. The wind, the zig and the zags and everything like that. Like, it was, I loved it. I absolutely loved that show. It was the best show I've ever seen in my life. Ozark is on that path as well. The ending to the Blacklist and the finale recently, I absolutely loved it because I did not see it coming. I literally screamed a cuss word out loud, like, you have got to be freaking kidding me. I cannot believe that just happened. Ozark, the ending to that last season. It's 2 a.m. Nora's passed out in the other room and she got ticked off because I screamed, "Oh, blank, you got to be kidding me," about 2 a.m. And I was like, no way. So I'm getting on Google, I'm reading all the reviews and everyone, I'm looking like a nerd trying to enter these old chat rooms and chat with other nerds about Ozark and stuff, right? I love that. So the problem is for Ohio State football, even the Oregon game, I'm just kind of like, it's a premier program that they're playing. It's a premier program that's coming into the shoe that they're bearing at noon, by the way. But thanks, Fox. But the bottom line is I kind of like Indiana fans, I think, will enjoy this coming up season more than Ohio State fans. I'm not saying Indiana's better. I'm just saying that those fans are really going to get a different experience than what we will. It's the same old, same old. We expect to win. We know we're going to win. And then if we lose, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. But I mean, no one can envision them losing. That's how good that they are. So that's kind of where I'm at. If I have a choice to watch a movie for the 3rd or 4th time over watching a movie I've never seen or heard of that I've been told is super good, I want to watch the movie that I don't know what's going to happen. I want to watch the movie that's going to have me on the edge of my seat. So I bring all of that up to bring it back to the Reds. I love the flaws of this Reds team. I love that I don't know what's coming. I love that we don't know who's going to win the NL Central. I love that the Reds could finish 4th in this division when it's all said and done, or they could end up NL Central champions and having home field advantage in the playoffs come October. I love that about this Reds team. Would I prefer that they have a top 10 bullpen? Absolutely. Would I prefer that they're in the top 5 in ERA for the rotation? Absolutely. Would I prefer that they don't have any holes in the lineup? Absolutely. But what I absolutely love is that I don't know who the hell this team is. I love that last week I predicted they were going to drop 3 or 4 to the Brewers, and everyone's expecting me to say, oh man, I can't, I'm so stupid. I'm glad I was wrong. I love being wrong about that type of stuff. I love when I'm wrong about my teams, when I'm predicting a not so great outcome. So I love that about this team is we don't know what to expect. You know that Lil Wayne, Kobe Bryant song? Who was it? Was it Petrus? Michael Petrus? You never know what you're going to get. That's what the Cincinnati Reds are. So as we head into the second half of the season, that's kind of where I'm at with this Reds team. I hope they get better at the trade deadline. I hope they address some of their flaws. But that first half, for as negative as I have been, for as critical as I have been, I've had to have certain listeners remind me that they have the worst bullpen in baseball and they're 6 games above 500. They've been ravished with injuries. 14 players at one point between the 40-man roster, even into the minors, have been on the injured list at some point. They have been decimated by injuries. They have the worst bullpen in baseball. Eugenio Suarez is hitting worse than half the pitchers in Major League Baseball. They have a bunch of rookies. They have no shortstop. This team has no business being 6 games above 500 and 4 games back in their division, but yet here they are. The Reds are that fantastic movie that you have no clue what's next. The Cincinnati Reds are the next season of Ozark, for those of you who love Ozark, where, you just cannot wait. You know that it could probably end badly. You know that they could disappoint you because a lot of endings to shows and movies usually, are not movies, but to big-time dramas like that, they usually don't end right. Like Breaking Bad, to me, had the best ending. It sewed up every storyline. There was not one storyline that was left open, and the one that they left open, it was done purposely to, of course, bring you El Camino, right? I love that. So the Reds, there's nothing sewed up. There's shortstop issues. That's not sewed up. The bullpen issues aren't sewed up. The trade deadline's coming up around the corner, so there's a lot to wonder and worry about there, right? Can Jesse Winker and Nick Castellanos keep up on their all-star first half pace that they were in the first 2 or 3 months of the season? There's so much unknown. So much unknown. And I cannot wait. I would rather be the Reds right now than the White Sox in your division, where Cleveland hasn't what it takes to maybe make it interesting, but as long as the White Sox just keep on their pace, they're fine. I would rather be a Reds fan right now. I think that the Reds fans are going to enjoy the next couple weeks and months more than Buckeye fans will until that 1-2 week stretch of the college football playoff. That's kind of where I'm at with that. What do you think? We've talked about that with Ohio State, where it's like, we love Ohio State. We bleed scarlet and gray. We can't wait for those Saturdays or Thursdays at 8 o'clock on Fox and Saturday at noon. But once the games start, we know no one comes close. Like Bearcat fans, you're in for one hell of a treat this year. You guys cannot wait for that Notre Dame game. You can't wait for that Indiana game. You can't wait to go undefeated potentially with those 2 big wins on your resume with an American Conference Championship and put the pressure on the committee. Now, you might dread Selection Sunday, but you can't wait to get there, right? Like, that's kind of where we're at. I just don't think Buckeye fans are like that. Like, what game can you not wait for? Don't say Oregon. That's an easy, low-hanging fruit game, but do you really believe that Oregon is going to be this competition that you are looking for, Buckeye fans? No. The competition we're waiting for doesn't come until January, and that's whoever they play in the college football playoff. Your thoughts, Kevin?
So you love the build-up. You love
the chase.
The chase of it. And when you're in a position like the Buckeyes where, just like kind of like NBA style, man, the regular season doesn't matter. Like, as long as you win, it really doesn't matter. It's really all about the playoff and winning the championship. But when you're a team like you talked about with, UC, the ride is going to be fun. Can they actually make it happen? Can they cash in on this opportunity that they have, having, 2 top ranked teams on their schedule already, with Indiana and Notre Dame and everything like that? Can they cash in on this opportunity? So I get what you're saying about the ride being more thrilling than the actual ending of it, because that's what we all want to be a part of. I think that I did enjoy Ohio State football a little bit more during the Trussell era, where, we were on the rise. We won the national championship, but we always saw other teams out there that, not even though we're homers and everything like that, we could agree, like, man, they're running at optimal prime status, and we're not quite there yet. Like, where, a game at the Shoe versus Vince Young goes down to the wire. Like, those games really don't happen. Like, they happen far and few between. Like, I mean, obviously we go back to last year's Big Ten championship game. It wasn't the fact that Ohio State was losing. We, as Ohio State fans, said we're letting them hang around. They're not up to our standard. We're not even enjoying the game. Like, I remember watching that Texas game and watching Vince Young at the Shoe. Yeah, we weren't winning parts of those games, but I remember enjoying the atmosphere in the game itself. Now, when Ohio State is losing the game, it seems like it's more anger at what's going on as opposed to enjoying the game.
Beating Indiana last year pissed people off because you didn't do it right. Like, you're not Team USA, right? Like, let's say, the Team USA, Kev, that lost those 2 freaking exhibition games that everyone overreacted to. Even if they would have won those exhibition games by 2 points, people would still be complaining. Wow, you only beat Nigeria by 2 points. Wow, you only beat that team we're USA. We got Kevin Durant. We got this guy. You only beat him by 2. It's to the point to where our expectations have increased to the point to where not only do we expect to win, but we expect to look so much better than our opponents in the process. Like, for instance, that series against the Brewers. I think this past series against the Brewers, and even the series coming up this weekend, Reds fans got way more out of watching the Reds beat the Brewers 3-4 in Milwaukee this past week than what Buckeye fans will get at any point throughout this upcoming season, at least until the college football playoff. That's not a knock on Ohio State, by the way. I'm not bashing Ohio State for being too good. I mean, this is a good problem to have. I mean, there are programs out there. I mean, we're talking about a Bearcats team who literally they dominate their division, their conference every single season, and they still can't get to the playoffs. So there are, trust me, I'm doing the woe is me, first world problem thing. But in all seriousness, that doesn't change the reality of the situation the Buckeyes are in. But like I said, I think the Reds fans got more enjoyment out of that 4-game series last week than what Buckeye fans will get in regards to the excitement of the season. Dayton Flyers fans are a prime example. Like, the non-conference, I feel like Flyers fans enjoy the non-conference more than the conference, because the non-conference is an opportunity for the Flyers to prove that they can hang with the Power Fives, with the high majors, right? Like, so for instance, it was announced today that the Dayton Flyers, that they are going to play Miami in one of the ESPN events, in one of the invitationals that they have coming up. So they're going to be playing Miami, Florida, and then they have a lot of really big teams that they could run into after that. That's why Maui Invitational was so big. Like, Flyers fans love that. And then you got into A10 play that year with Obi Toppin. Remember, you get into A10 play, and it's like, man, we went from destroying Virginia Tech to losing to the number one team in the country in overtime, barely, to, now we got to play Washington. Now we got to play this team. That's tough. Flyers fans enjoyed November, December more than January through March, pretty much, right? Like, so that's what I always find interesting is every sport, every fan base takes in sports differently, because we all say we want a winner. We do want a winner, but sometimes when we have a winner, sometimes it still ruins it for us. How about this? The last time the Bengals made the playoffs, what year was that? 2015, Kev? When your Steelers beat them? I think it was 14 or 15. No, when your Steelers got that win against them. Yeah. We're not talking about the Browns. The Browns beat your Steelers last year. I'm not talking about that game. But no, I remember that season in 2015, the Bengals were expected to make the playoffs. They were good, right? They had Pac-Man, they had Perfect, they had everybody. They were supposed to win. But
yes, you're right. It was a 2015, 2016 season. Yeah.
So every time they'd get a win that regular season, it was just, okay, cool. It doesn't matter if we know we're going to win. We know we're supposed to win in the regular season. It all matters what we do in the playoffs. Like, Bengals fans in 2015, that build up to that Steelers game, Kev, that was the most fun part of that entire season. The results sucked. It hurt. I mean, it crushed Bengals fans. The Bengals franchise hasn't been the same since then. It crushed them. But that build up, that 1 week of that entire season, that was the most excitement Bengals fans faced all year, even when they were winning throughout the year. I remember coming in here and it was just like, oh yeah, Bengals won yesterday. Like, even right now, Bengals fans, you're more excited heading into this season, knowing you're not going to be very good, but you're more excited heading into this season than I feel like what fans were in 2015, knowing you had a playoff team, because the chase. Sometimes when you get to the high pressure situations, that ruins it for you. That ruins the expectations for you, right? Because now you're not enjoying the chase anymore. Now you're being chased. Now you're having to live up to expectations. You're playing with house money this year, Bengals fans. If you win a lot of games, it's like, oh my gosh, look at this coaching job from Zach Taylor. Look at the growth of Joe Burrow. Hey, the front office finally got that defense intact. That offensive line finally meshed. That's the fun part about the build. That's why the Browns winning 7 games after going 0-16, that was such a fun year. And then the expectations hit, and then guess what? It became less fun. Because they didn't live up to those expectations, right? Like, so that's what's interesting. Everything, just the expectations in sports from team to team, situation to situation is different. Alabama fans, they have an issue with their non-conference. By the way, Buckeye fans always rep Alabama for their non-con. Ohio State's non-con is not really more impressive other than you play your non-conference opponent there. But, I remember they were having issues with fans leaving games early because Alabama was up by 40 at halftime every game, just like Ohio State is pretty much every non-conference opponent that's not a premier opponent. So, Alabama fans, Cincinnati fans are supposed to feel sorry for Alabama fans and Ohio State fans who they don't have any close games throughout the year. Right. Like, give me a break. All I'm saying is everyone that's being super negative about this Reds team, lighten up. I would rather have the enjoyment of the unknown with this team, knowing what the ceiling could be while being afraid of what the floor could be for them, than Ohio State, where you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get with them. You know they're going to win the Big Ten. And if they don't, it's surprising, but I don't think anyone's envisioning them not winning the Big Ten, because the gap between them and their conference, it's a mile wide.
What is the line, though? Where does the line go? How long can you enjoy?
The line's bad. Like the Bengals have. Oh, no, you meant I'm sorry, what?
The line, where do you draw the line? Where does it go from like, oh, man, I'm enjoying the ride up until you get to a certain point where like, all right, man, we've been on this not even roller coaster. Yeah, the roller coaster on the way up. When are we going to break through and actually be a big dog? And instead of enjoying the ride all the way up, like we talked about with the Cincinnati Reds, like people are really enjoying the season because we're on the climb up and everything like that. There's a ton of exciting games and everything like that. But then, a couple of years ago with the Bengals, they had so many winning seasons, won the division, went to the playoffs.
Playoffs wasn't new. It just wasn't. It was expected, which that's a good thing.
Right.
But it does change the way you view football coming up.
So how long can you play that game? How long can you play we're on the way up game, as opposed to like, all right, this is the year that we break through in the regular season. Doesn't matter. I
think that the Bengals get one more year I think they get this season coming up of the excitement of, okay, did what we put together in the offseason work? And then even if you're losing and you look competitive in those losses, you still feel pretty good about it. But if it happens in year 3, That's where you're concerned. That's why last year's year 3 for the Browns, it became make or break. It was win or go home. Like there was no, like last year, I give Baker credit for all the pressure was on his shoulders. There was no in between. If he would have been average last year, Kevin, and some people like to say he wasn't, but if he was average last year, it would be a bad thing for Cleveland. It would be a bad thing for him. It would just be like, oh, typical Browns. But it wasn't typical Browns. They won 12 total games last year. They made the playoffs. They won a road playoff game at Kev Nash's Pittsburgh Steelers. But real quick, I want to say this. So here's a prime example of this, and then we'll move on. The New York Yankees are 46-43. They have 46 wins at the break, and they feel like their season is over. They feel like they are failures. They have 46 wins at the All-Star break, and the New York Yankees and that fan base, they want Aaron Boone gone. They are, these aren't your, dad and uncle's Yankees anymore. This is just, these aren't the Yankees we grew up loving, right? The sky is falling in New York for a 46-win Yankee team at the All-Star break. But yet, Reds fans are peeing their pants with excitement because the Reds have 48 wins. The Reds only have 2 more wins than the New York Yankees. And Reds fans are losing their minds with excitement. Like, my goodness, we're only 4 games out of the division. And then there's the Yankees with only 2 fewer wins than the Reds, and they're ready to start a rebuild. It's crazy to me. That's what I'm trying to say is like the Reds, for everyone being negative about the Reds, stop. This is a fun thing to be involved in right now. Now, if there's 3 straight years of this average stuff, then you could start to get a little irritated. But the Reds have not been at this point since 2014. Let's enjoy it as we head into the second half of the season. That's all I'm trying to say. I just spoke with Tommy Thrall, the radio voice of the Cincinnati Reds, earlier today. He is going to join us on the show tomorrow ahead of the 3-game series at Great American Ballpark with the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Reds-Brewers, game 1 tomorrow night, 7:10 the first pitch, 6:40 the pregame. You can catch that as well as all games of the Reds season, hopefully postseason as well, right here on 1410 Wing AM. Kev Nash brings us over-under on the other side of the break. Plus, we'll get to the sympathy meter. Horns up, that's thumbs up. Horns down, thumbs down. That could be a penalty this coming up season. I'll explain that coming up around the corner. Marty Brenneman making some news and headlines as his tweet to Stephen A. Smith is getting a lot of attention in regards to how the Tom Brenneman firing was handled following his comments made in Kansas City last year regarding the gay community. We'll get to that coming up around the corner as well. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. That's what the Toronto Blue Jays are saying. And, well, they still may not have a home. We'll talk about that. So much to get into. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy and humid, a high near 90. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low around 70. And tomorrow will be cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 84. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
This is a big deal. Now at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as August 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. When you need a dependable body shop, we're here to help, repairing all makes and models. Our technicians have over 125 years experience. That means we can repair your vehicle quickly and efficiently. Our department is state-of-the-art with new equipment to get you back on the road quickly. We offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
You shouldn't have to camp out at a burger joint to get an internet connection. You shouldn't have to buy a coffee or fries to be able to do remote learning, job interviews, and online doctor visits. So the federal government is providing a temporary discount of up to $50 a month for eligible households on internet service at home. To find out if you qualify and to sign up, go to getemergencybroadband.org. Sponsored by Heartland Forward in cooperation with the OAB and this station.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
What if I told you you could save 50% off your monthly cell phone bill without sacrificing your service? This is Jill Schlesinger, CBS News business analyst, and I'm talking about H2O Wireless. If you're with AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, you're just paying too much. Listen to this. You can get unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 a month. That means the average person is probably saving $400 a year. You might use that to fund your emergency reserve fund or pay down some credit card bills or put some money in your retirement plan. And switching is so easy. You can keep your phone, keep your number. You just have to swap out your SIM card. You get the same great service you currently have, but at half the price. Right now, you can save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. That's pound 250 and say keyword get H2O to start saving today.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
The TBT on WING is making its return coming up actually a week from tomorrow. January, holy smokes. January. Why did I have January? Oh, yeah, because that's back when that thing that doesn't exist existed, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But so July 23rd, a week from tomorrow, WING, Norm Greavy and myself will be live at the Covelli Center. We're going to be bringing you every Red Scare and every Carmen's Crew game right here on 1410 Wing AM. It's the TBT on WING. Just a reminder, you can watch all TBT action on the ESPN family of networks. And then right here on Wing, we will be carrying all of the Red Scare and Carmen's Crew games. So we're excited about that. The Dayton Flyers alumni team, the Red Scare, Carmen's Crew, the Ohio State Buckeyes alumni team. So we're pretty pumped about that, and we're hoping that both of those teams, again, Carmen's Crew, the 1 seed, the Red Scare, the 2 seed, they're on a crash course collision to the quarterfinal matchup, which at UD Arena and coming up here at the end of July 31st through August 3rd will be championship week at UD Arena, with August 3rd being the championship game. Hopefully Red Scare or Carmen's Crew, and let's just be honest, it's ESPN Dayton, so we're going to say hopefully Red Scare is there. All I got to say is if Red Scare gets knocked out, Carmen's Crew better be that. I just want one of those two in the championship game, but we're pretty pumped. Again, the TBT on WING. Make sure you keep it locked in here for all of that. We had fun with that last year, doing it remotely here in the studio. Now we're going to be out at the arenas, in a packed house around all the fans. We're pretty pumped about that. So got this press release earlier today. Doug Hochschild, SID for the Dayton Flyers. Again, this matchup was made official that the University of Dayton's third appearance in the ESPN Events Invitational. It will begin with a first-round game against the University of Miami on Thursday, November 25th. That's Miami, Florida. The game between the Flyers and the Hurricanes will open the tournament and will be played at 12 noon Eastern and will be televised on either ESPN or ESPN2. So that's another scheduling nugget right there. You also have, a lot of really good games in the non-conference coming up for the Flyers. This obviously one of them. That's a huge game. The winner of the Invitational's first game will play the winner between North Texas and Kansas. And we know what happened. We know what kind of season the Flyers had the last time they ran into Kansas in one of these little tournaments. So hopefully that's what happens. North Texas, you don't join these tournaments to run into North Texas. All right. You join these tournaments so you can get your hands on some of these, bigger schools like Kansas. And I think that'd be quite the path right there. You play Miami and Kansas. That's one hell of a non-conference swoop right there for the Flyers as they're looking to try to take this highest recruiting class in program history and build on that and give these guys some valuable experience and wins. Pretty pumped about that.
Absolutely, man. You talk about the TBT on the way. You talk about college basketball season on the way. I'm just ready for some more hoops. I know we're in the middle of the NBA finals tied at 2 games apiece, man, but I'm a basketball junkie. So more basketball, the better.
Yeah, keep in mind, this is the third trip to the Orlando event. This used to be the Old Spice Invitational, the invitational that the Flyers are playing in. It used to be the Old Spice Invitational. They actually won it back in 2011, and it's one of 2 former champions in this year's field. Kansas won it back in 2014. So there you go. All right. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Listen, stream, and now watch. You can listen at 1410 Wing AM. You can stream us at wingam.com and watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Search ESPN Dayton on YouTube. Subscribe to the station's YouTube channel, and also follow the Justin Kinner Show live on Facebook. You can watch the show daily, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. and interact with us in the chat section. Scott Campbell, by the way, he says, "Let's go Reds." He also goes on to say that people are being negative about the Reds. They're not Reds fans. They are fans. They are fans of other sports waiting for their regular season. Look, I think you could be negative about the Reds, Scott, and still be a Reds fan. Because I got to defend that because I'll probably be negative at some point. If they drop 2 or 3, you watch my negativity come out pretty quickly. So we'll talk more Reds coming up around the corner. All right. Kev Nash brings us over under.
Kev Nash brings you over under.
All right, we'll start things off in the National Basketball Association. I said that I believe that the Bucks would tie this up at 2 games apiece in the NBA Finals, and that's what happened last night. Big performance from Giannis Antetokounmpo. And, well, it's not Easter, but a big old egg was laid last night by Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns.
Absolutely. Game 4 of the NBA Finals went down last night. Devin Booker scored 20 of his 42 points in the third quarter, but Chris Middleton said, "I got a 40-piece of my own," and Giannis had one heck of a defensive play for the ages. The series is now tied at 2 games apiece. So over or under this series lasting 6.5 games?
I have this still going 7, mainly because I think that the momentum that Milwaukee just picked up by winning games 3 and 4 on their home floor, it ties the series up, yes, but it's not just that the Suns lost, it's how they lost. Like, Chris Paul has been put up on this pedestal of, top 5 point guard of all time. And by the way, these 2 games don't change that, but I'm getting somewhere with it. He's been put up on this pedestal, top 5 point guard of all time. I'm hearing stupid, topics in the morning on some shows talk about, is this the start to a dynasty in Phoenix? I'm like, give me a break, my goodness. But Chris Paul did something last night that had LeBron done this, he would be destroyed. Had Kevin Durant done this in the finals, he'd be destroyed. In fact, when LeBron did this in the finals back in 2011 against the Mavericks and his second finals appearance ever, LeBron got destroyed for that. I feel like Chris Paul is getting a pass, and I don't know why. We're going to put him in that upper echelon of superstars in the NBA. You don't get a pass for last night. That's not okay. And I think that the pressure is starting to build on him. We have been ripping Coach Bud, saying that, he's not a very good coach. He hasn't made adjustments. Putting Drew Holiday on Chris Paul, that has been huge. A much bigger defender. Chris Paul still should be good enough to not have a stat line like he did last night. It's unacceptable in my opinion. I don't think that's going to be repeated, but the pressure is starting to pile up. Things were easy after games 1 and 2. I mean, everyone was basically handing them the championship. I think Milwaukee feeds off that momentum they established in Milwaukee, getting this Game 5 win at Phoenix coming up. And then I think all of a sudden Phoenix kind of snaps out of this little lull a little bit when the pressure really mounts on them. But I'm curious how Chris Paul handles this, because there's always been things that have led, whether it's an injury to him or an injury to James Harden, there's always been a big injury that has kept his teams who were expected to make deep runs from going on those deep runs. Right now, the only thing keeping them from winning that game last night was Chris Paul, because if Chris Paul has his typical stat line, they're winning that game because Devin Booker was shooting lights out. If Chris Paul and Devin Booker both went ham at the same time, we're talking about a 3-1 series lead for the Phoenix Suns, and that's obviously not the case. So I have Milwaukee winning Game 5 at Phoenix, forcing, heading into Game 6. Phoenix gets that one, and then ultimately, I'm not even going to pick who's going to win Game 7 yet, because it's a completely different series now. And that's what I love about these playoffs, is every time we think we know how they're going to end. This goes back to my point earlier. This is why this has been fun this year. It's not like the Kevin Durant Golden State Warrior era where it was, okay, they're going to win unless an injury happens. Last night was not an injury related to anything. That was strictly Chris Paul not showing up. A very intriguing finals. I'm having a lot of fun watching this. I'm actually glad that this series is being extended. I didn't want the Phoenix Suns to close it out early. But, I have this going to Game 7, Kev. So on the over-under of, this series lasting 6.5 games, I'm taking the over. It's going 7.
It's going 7. It's going 7, and the Bucks are going to win in 7. Chris Paul's performance last night was horrible. I can live with him missing shots. Dudes miss shots. I don't have a problem with him missing shots, but he was so loose with the ball. I want to say he had 6 turnovers last night. That's not CP3, man.
They had 20 as a team.
Yeah, and he's the lead guy that
they go as he goes. So yeah.
And we talked about this when the series going to go to Milwaukee. We're asking these questions. All right, how is Devin Booker going to play? How is DeAndre Ayton going to play? How is Mikal Bridges going to play in this hostile environment, first time in the finals and everything like that? We kind of took for granted that Chris Paul was going to play well because he's a 16-year veteran. Well, guess what? Devin Booker had a terrible Game 3. Chris Paul was cool in Game 3. But Game 4, when they really needed it, Devin Booker dropped 42 points. And Chris Paul, the Hall of Famer that he's going to be one day, laid an egg with major turnovers and being picked on defense. And one thing about Chris Paul, he's a prideful guy, but he's always been a good defender, especially for his size. They attacked him on the pick and rolls, and they basically got Middleton to those sweet spots. And I've been saying it this whole time that, yes, Giannis is a better basketball player. Who would I rather have, Giannis or Chris Middleton? But Chris Middleton, when he has the ability to run that pick and roll with him and Giannis, he can do more, because you have to sag off of Giannis because you're scared of that backdoor lob. And Chris Middleton is going to hit a 15-footer 9 out of 10 times. And that's exactly what he did last night. So the quote-unquote adjustment, or him just hitting shots that Chris Middleton did, that's kudos to him, because Devin Booker in that third quarter, I'm watching it and I'm just having a ball, eating my popcorn, enjoying the show. And there's something to be said about this without having, LeBron in the finals or KD in the finals. There's no villain in these finals, because let's keep it real, man. There are factions of people that watch basketball to ridicule people. There's, the Paul George haters that call him Pandemic P. You got your LeBron haters. You got your KD haters. Nobody in this series is hated by most people. So I'm just enjoying people watching basketball without having to see he sucks. I told you he sucks. People are just watching the game and enjoying it for what it is and enjoying a heck of a series. It's tied at 2 games apiece. I'm going to say over for the over under 6.5 games. I'm going to say it goes to 7. I'm going to say that Phoenix wins Game 5. They go back to Milwaukee. Milwaukee wins it. And then you take it to Game 7 where anything can happen. And I'm hopeful for it, because that's what I want. I want a Game 7. I love Game 7s in every sport. When to take off.
I just, and the pressure's on Chris Paul.
Oh, big time.
I mean, it's not like this is the Phoenix Suns against the Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving Nets. And, I think everyone would pick the Nets in that series if the Nets are healthy. But this is a series that they were favored in. favored to win. No injury. I mean, there's been the injury due to a key role player, but that's not tipping the scales in the favor of Milwaukee by any means. What's tipping the scale in the favors of Milwaukee is the fact that, you had Devin Booker with only 10 points in game 3. And then in game 4, you have Chris Paul with only 10 points and 5 turnovers and a plus minus at -10. So that's, you can't have that when you're the star player. Like I said, I thought it was interesting. Keyshawn Johnson and I think I forgot who was on KJ and Z the other morning. They were talking about, how you could tell who the superstars are versus the all-stars in the league. The superstars are when you have an off night, you're the headline the next day for your off night for letting your team down. When you're an all-star, it's, you just had an off night. There's no pressure. Well, Chris Paul's getting that all-star treatment. I have no clue why everyone let him off the hook today. I'm not saying that we need to get our pitchforks out and go after him, but, if Kevin Durant was in the finals and only had 10 points in a game, we'd be going after him.
I know I'm going after him. I'm a Chris Paul dude.
So I'm just that can't happen.
I mean, I know people are wowed by the 42 from Devin Booker, him being such a young player, having 42 points in the finals. I know people are wowed by Chris Middleton, coming up big for his team. I know for sure I was blown away by that block that Giannis had. I mean, he recovered on the backdoor lob to Aiden so quick. He picked up, Booker on the pick and roll, showed, and then got back to block the shot. So I think it's a lot of things that happen in that game that are like, oh man, people are wowed by. But with game 5 happening on Saturday, we got the rest of today. We got tomorrow. We got the lead up to Saturday's game. People are going to start watching the film and they're going to realize that, hey man, the Hall of Famer point guard out there, he was horrendous. He was terrible. He was awful. And I'm a Chris Paul dude, but you can't deny that he was horrible last night. And the turnovers, man, it's for me, it's the turnovers. Like I said before, the shots, all right, man, you're going to make some, you're going to miss some, whatever. But as a point guard and a traditional point guard that he is, having that many turnovers and live ball turnovers. Kenner, you used to play basketball in high school and at Bright State. You know the difference between a live turnover and a regular turnover. Oh, I dribbled it out of bounds. All right, they got to take the ball out. But when you're turning the ball over and they're getting transition dunks, that's 2 points the other way. So those hurt twice as much as a regular turnover. And Chris Paul had way too many of those last night.
You could tell it's July, and even with finals going on, an all-star game for baseball, and weeks away from camp, we still fall into these weird traps or these weird topics in the month of July in sports media. And it was LeBron's block against Giannis's block.
Get out of here, man. Talk about what's happening right now. LeBron ain't playing, man. Talk about the guys that's playing right now.
I want to talk about it real quick. But LeBron's block was better. It was a chase down. It's not because it's LeBron. It was a chase down block. It was a chase down block in transition.
With you, man.
But Giannis is a 7-footer with a 9-foot wingspan and playing help side defense. By the way, I'm not watering it down by any means, but LeBron, and by the way, Giannis, it was a nice recovery, good block, solid block. LeBron, that's LeBron's staple. That's like a thing. That's like what LeBron does. That's what he is known for on the defensive side is those chase down blocks. Giannis getting credit for being tall and blocking someone's shot, which by the way, it's still good.
Backhanded compliments from Kenner.
No, but it's common sense. He's just doing what big post players should do in the NBA. Like when Shaq would block people around the post. I bet if you go to any of those Lakers finals, I'm pretty sure you could find a couple key blocks that Shaq had down the stretch that no one overreacted to because, well, he's 7 foot tall. That's what 7 foot tall people do. That's all. But LeBron running from one end of the floor to the other. I mean, hell, I like Tayshaun Prince's Reggie Miller block better than what we saw last night. Great block. I'm not saying it's not a great block, but let's stop with this. Oh my gosh, can you believe that 7-footer with a 9-foot wingspan blocked a shot last night?
I'll play your game. I will put LeBron's up there number 1 out of those 3 that you just
Fair
mentioned.
enough. We can move on then. Well, keep talking.
For this reason and this reason only, it was game 7. This was only game 4.
Because he was running it down and came
It was
behind.
game 7.
Timing.
It was game 7. It was tied up. And in the Giannis situation, it's only game 4, and they were up by a bucket. The Tayshaun Prince one, I'll have that third simply because it was Reggie Miller, and Reggie Miller is 6'8" and still can't dunk. So that's why I have the Tayshaun Prince third. He's a legend for sure. He's a legend, but he can't jump over a phone book. Still can shoot the lights out though.
All right, over under on to boxing now. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, part 3.
Yes, indeed. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder originally were scheduled to fight next Saturday, actually, July 24th, but it was postponed after Tyson Fury tested positive for COVID-19 and the outbreak happened in his camp. The new date is now October 9th. So over or under this fight lasting 8 rounds.
When's the last time either of these two fought? Was
That fight.
That ain't good for boxing, man. That ain't good for boxing.
No, I think Tyson Fury had another fight since then. I'm almost positive. But Wilder has not been in the ring since that fight.
That's strange to me. That's a problem. I know COVID's been going on, but like there's been boxing matches every weekend, even during COVID. But again, these guys are primetime guys, like they're pay-per-view type guys. So I understand it to a certain extent, but I'm not a fan of that. But anyways, point is, over under this fight lasting 8 rounds. What did it go last time? I never even looked. I meant to look this up before coming on the air. I watched it
right now. I look up myself.
I've watched that fight and it was unbelievable. No one gave Tyson Fury a shot. And I think that as everyone envisioned that, hey, Tyson Fury winning, it was going to have to be through a knockout because the longer it would go on, that he's not in as good a shape as Wilder. But of course, Wilder wore himself out apparently by having too heavy of a robe walking to the ring in his entrance.
Okay, so the first fight that happened in December of 18. Split decision, 12 rounds. The fight that Tyson Fury won back in February of 2020, TKO in the 7th round.
7th round. Yeah, I'm gonna go under. I don't think. Look, the fact that you could be in shape and train as much as you want, but I mean, I don't know how much in-ring work these guys have done. And I mean, they're in the ring, they're training. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to act like I think they're just sitting on there eating Skittles and Cheetos all day. But I'm just like me. But the bottom line is that like I'm gonna say under on that too, just because how big they are. They're naturally big dudes, anyways. They're not built for the line. They're not trying to wear each other out, trying to knock each other up. But at the same time, they were very selective with how they approached it. And I thought that Fury did a good job last time of kind of shortening the gap between the two, not trying to exhaust himself at the same time. So I'm going to go under 8 rounds.
I'm going to go under as well because the only way Deontay Wilder can win this fight is a knockout. He's not a boxer. He's a knockout artist. That's what he does. He knocks people out. I think he's only been to 12 rounds twice in his entire career. And the way that Tyson Fury boxed Deontay Wilder to death in that last fight, you're expecting more of the same. So either way it goes, whoever wins this fight is not going past 8 rounds. Somebody's going to eat that canvas, man, and I can't wait till October.
All right. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here, a little over under. You can jump in on the comment section on any of these. Creation Sensation, he says, who cares? I think that's Willie from Wright State, by the way. I believe so. He says, who cares in regards to Wilder's a bum. He's not a Wilder. Why don't you like Wilder? Just out of curiosity.
A bum?
He said Wilder's a bum.
A bum? I wouldn't go a bum. I would say he's
Did he lose last time? He's a bum. If you lose, you're a bum.
One time you lose, you're a bum?
The last time you lose, you're a bum. If he wins next time, then Fury's a bum. No. David Shaw says Fury wins by knockout in the 5th round. Wilder is a knockout specialist. Fury is a boxer.
Don't steal my quotes. Don't steal my quotes. What's up, Shaw?
To be the man, you got to beat the man. How about that? All right, on to number 3, to the world of the National Football League we go. A little Cam Newton talk. He was on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin this morning.
Yes, he was on there talking about Bill Belichick, expectations for the upcoming season, additions to the roster, and his competition with Mac Jones. So, over or under 15 starts for the former league MVP, Cam Newton.
Look, I like Cam Newton, but Cam Newton hasn't been Cam Newton since his last year or two, even in Carolina. Last year, yes, it could have been because of COVID and everything, and he looked absolutely outstanding the first couple weeks of the season. Never looked like himself after that. Was it because of COVID? Probably. We'll never be able to pinpoint exactly what it was. I think that's an easy, low-hanging fruit thing to say, oh, yeah, he was never the same after that. Maybe so, but to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that was definitely what it was, I can't go there just because he hadn't been Cam in a long time. Maybe a full off season is going to do wonders for him. Another year under Bill Belichick's system. But let's be clear. I'm not saying that they're looking for him to struggle, but any signs of consistent struggles of Cam Newton, that's going to be all that they need to move on to Mac Jones to begin with. I don't know why we get so caught up in the other teams who drafted rookie quarterbacks that are sitting behind veterans. You look at the Niners situation over there with Trey Lance, and you look at the Bears situation with Justin Fields. Everyone else in those situations is saying it's dumb for the veteran to take the spot of the young starter who you just went and drafted, but yet this one's not getting that same attention. I think it's because it is Cam Newton, but it's not Cam Newton. I'm going to say way under on this. I just don't think that Cam has it anymore. I'm going with Mac Jones. Mac Jones, I'll say Under 15 starts for Mac Jones, but I'll move to 12. I think Mac Jones starts more than 12 games this year, but I'm taking the big time under on Cam Newton.
I'm going to go with the over. I think the New England Patriots are going to be right there in the playoff mix this upcoming season. I know everybody's picking your favorite team, the Buffalo Bills, to run away with the division, but I think that the retooling of the offense, I think they're playing a brand of football that nobody really else in the league is playing. They're going to be playing smash mouth football. They signed two tight ends in the offseason. They are going to get players back from COVID from last year that opted out of the season, so they're going to be getting guys back on defense. I know a lot of pressure's on Cam Newton to perform well, but, we talked about how Tom Brady didn't look like Tom Brady when they didn't have any weapons. Well, he had less weapons than Tom Brady did in his last year. So I'm going to go with the over. I think that they're going to be right there in the mix for a playoff spot, and I'm going to go with the over. I say Cam starts all 17 games for the New England Patriots.
All right, on to number 4. We'll stay in the NFL again.
Absolutely. The wife of Pittsburgh Steelers and former Ohio State quarterback Dwayne Haskins is facing domestic violence charges stemming from an alleged assault involving Haskins that occurred in Las Vegas hotel room earlier this month. So over or under Haskins playing 4 games in his career for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I think this has been overblown today big time. In fact, a little annoyed with people making jokes of Dwayne Haskins, because let's be real, if Dwayne Haskins would have swung back or made contact back and put his hands on her, he would be getting destroyed today. It's you got to take domestic violence seriously. When people hear domestic violence, it's always, oh, what did he do? And it's not always what did he do. There's a lot of instigation in these situations that comes from both parties. And, I'm glad that this story is not Dwayne Haskins the other way around. It's unfortunate. It's wrong no matter who's involved. Obviously, it gets more attention when it's the guy putting his hands on a girl, and rightfully so. But there should be no physicality whatsoever in these relationships. And I'm glad that that's not the storyline here, that it was him doing it and her. So it's unfortunate that he's in this situation to begin with. But I kept hearing today, oh, he's being a distraction already. No, a distraction is he put his hands on her. This is unfortunate. Okay, I feel bad for him in this situation. With the details I know, I mean, more can come out of this, and maybe he did do something that I have not been privy to that information yet. But as of right now, I'm going to say over. I don't think this changes anything. I just think it's unfortunate. There's a lot of these situations happening right now, just weeks out of camp. You look at the Richard Sherman situation. You look at this. These guys are. There's a lot going on in the summer. There's a lot of parties. You're out drinking. You're out and doing a lot of stuff that you're not normally doing during the regular season when you're more locked in on work. It doesn't surprise me a lot of these strange situations are happening weeks out, because maybe, Kev, it's a lot of these athletes are like, all right, we got to have fun the next couple of weeks, because, here in 2 weeks when we report to camp, it's work time. And, then you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel bad for him in this situation. I think that, people are spinning this in the wrong direction, saying, oh, he's a distraction. These guys have lives. It doesn't make this right. And I don't think he did anything wrong here. So until I read something differently, I feel bad that he's even being talked about as being a distraction for the Steelers right now. I think he'll be playing over that. I don't think he'll be the starter this year by any means, but I think he's a legitimate backup quarterback in the NFL, especially under the right coaching. And I think Mike Tomlin could do that. So I'd still take him being the backup over Mason Rudolph. So there you go. But unfortunate situation, but I'm gonna say over on 4 games in his career with the Steelers.
I'm gonna go with the over as well. And I'm just like you, man. Like, we have to take domestic violence serious, no matter if it's happening to a female or a male. A lot of people making jokes about this type of thing, but there's nothing funny about domestic violence at all. And as far as he's concerned, I'm going to go with the over as well. Maybe it's the Buckeye homer in me, and hoping that he gets his stuff together and he can be a good quarterback in this league and everything like that. But I look at it and I think that, just like you were talking about, where people, because I didn't see anything on SportsCenter today at all, so you telling me that is quite alarming, that organizations will always find a way or look at you in a light where, see, I told you. They're looking for that told you so moment. And unfortunately for him, this could be that I told you so moment. It could be like, see, he's a distraction already. So I don't even know if he'll get the chance to make it through camp. But I mean, he just got engaged. Like, I saw the post on his IG page. I was, oh man, good for him. And then this comes out like days later, weeks later, apparently like that, it happened that night. The alleged assault on him happened that night. So it's just crazy, man. It just seems like, man, he's like snake bitten, because let's keep it real. He has done nothing in this league to deserve like the benefit of the doubt. Like outside of last summer, him coming into camp in great shape and losing a ton of weight, and everything like that, he hasn't done anything in this league to say, you know what, he deserves another opportunity. We can talk about bad guys in the NFL getting second chances and everything like that, but at least they're productive on the field and they have an out. Like he hasn't been productive on the field for teams to say, all right, man, we're going to brush this under the rug. We understand life happens. It's like it could happen to anybody out there. There's like this type of thing can happen to anybody when you're talking about Las Vegas, you're talking about alcohol, you're talking about partying and all those type of things. That type of stuff can happen anywhere. But if the Steelers decide to move on, I won't be surprised.
I'll rip them for it if they move on. This is a dumb reason to move on from it for. What did he do wrong?
Oh, you're right. I am with you. I
living life and a speed bump comes up, but it's not. It's like, again, if this was he did it, I'd be like, okay, but you can't sit there 2 weeks ago. A story came out and he said he's going to do everything he can.
You know how the NFL is. You know how the NFL is. They will say this is a distraction. They talk about Tim Tebow being a distraction. They talk about Urban Meyer hiring the strength coach from Iowa as a distraction. They talk about Andrew Luck going to get his master's as a distraction. The NFL says, hey man, we want you all about football or we don't want you at all. Like, so when you're on the thread, when you haven't performed to your draft pick and you're a guy that is trying to get his career back on track, you can't have any of these instances happen, even if it ain't your fault. We've seen this happen time in and time again where people have run into issues that don't seem to be really their fault. But hey, man, you know how it is. We got to keep everything on the up and up. Like if this was Ben Roethlisberger, oh well, Ben, come on back. Like, it's just how it is. I'm rooting for him, obviously. And obviously, I'm rooting for their marriage because nobody wants anybody to be dealing with any type of domestic violence type of situations.
All right. And that wraps up Over Under. Kev Nash brings us Over Under each and every day. Over Under with Kev Nash, presented by nobody. Hour 2 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
At Lowe's, we know your home is an expression of you, and we see you walking down these aisles of possibility, running your finger on that marble top Allen & Roth vanity, regularly $5.99, but now $3.49, and finding that perfect rattan pendant at an everyday low price of $99.98. In our showrooms of style, you'll find whatever you're into at a price you'll really get into. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See associate at Lowe's.com for details. Valid through 8/29/21. U.S. only.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The real estate market is always tough, but this market, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. When the average home stays on the market just 24 days and houses routinely go for more than the listing price, who you work with matters. Realtors have the expertise, local knowledge, and personal touch to give you a competitive advantage throughout the entire home buying process. And that's something an ordinary agent could never do. So make sure your agent is a realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Napa know-how. Get 20% off 3 or more items with the $2.99 Napa Bucket. Yep, save on wipers, headlights, brake pads, motor oil. Wait, how long is this list? Wow, floor mats, boat batteries, towing parts. I'm not sure we have time to read all this. Let's just say save 20% on a lot. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how.
At participating locations, exclusions apply. May not be combined with other offers. Offer ends 7/31/21.
Save today in your next project with 11% off everything now at Menards. Masterforce has accessories for all your power tools, from saw blades to sandpaper, from drill bits to drive bits, and everything in between. Right now, get 11% off all Masterforce power tool accessories. Save today with 11% off everything now at Menards. Good through Saturday, July 17th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
It's time for some straight talk. We've all been there. You have some real work to do, but the free Wi-Fi where you're working isn't going to cut it. It's like leaving the winning runner stranded on third base. Not good. Well, now you can be your own hotspot with Straight Talk's Ultimate Unlimited plan. Get 10 gigs of hotspot data for just $55 a month. All on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
Trade pros. Whether you specialize in service or new construction, Ferguson knows firsthand how much work goes into a long day on the job, which is why we're committed to offering the products and solutions to get every job done right. With over 1,000 locations, an unmatched selection of specialty products, tools, and supplies, our pro pickup and same or next day delivery, you can trust that doing business with Ferguson will be the easiest part of your hard day's work. Visit Ferguson.com to find a counter location near you.
This is a big deal. Now, at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as August 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's time for some straight talk. We've all been there. You have some real work to do, but the free Wi-Fi where you're working isn't going to cut it. It's like leaving the winning runner stranded on third base. Not good. Well, now you can be your own hotspot with Straight Talk's Ultimate Unlimited plan. Get 10 gigs of hotspot data for just $55 a month. All on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com. Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven.
Don't wait to get a new job. Express Employment Professionals is hiring for more than 35,000 jobs. Find your local Express office at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. college football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local. What are you gonna miss? He struck him up. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, hanging out with you here on a Thursday, July 15th. The halfway point of July. 2 weeks from yesterday, NFL camps will open up. In fact, a week from yesterday, the Dallas Cowboys and Kev's Pittsburgh Steelers, they opened up their camp. 3 weeks from now, we will have the Hall of Fame game, the first preseason game of the NFL. And so we're pretty excited about all that stuff coming up. The TBT on WING. Well, Dayton Flyers basketball action right here on the wing. Sounds weird saying that, but it's their alumni team. The Red Scare, the TBT, Carmen's Crew, Ohio State basketball, a lot of familiar faces, Costa Koufis and Caleb Wesson. The 2 new additions to John Diebler, William Buford, Aaron Kraft and company. Pretty pumped about that. The Red Scare, you get Ryan Mikesell and Trey Landers, of course, and you get just a talented roster across the board. We'll have more on that coming up around the corner. But yes, you can expect to hear all Carmen's Crew and all of the Red Scare games right here on 1410 Wing AM. Starting next Friday night, a week from tomorrow night, at 9 p.m. Eastern, we will have Carmen's Crew. And then on Saturday, the 24th, we'll have the Red Scare in their first TBT game at 3 o'clock right here on 1410 Wing. Former Flyer Norm Greavy and myself will be at the Cavelli Center in Columbus, hoping that it leads to the path of the Flyers and the Buckeyes, Carmen's Crew and Red Scare meeting up in the quarterfinal round, which would be the first game of the UD Arena games for championship week. So that's going to be January 31st or July 31st through August 3rd. So pretty pumped about that. Just a reminder, TBT, actually some regionals have already started. Yeah. And you can watch all 64 teams. You can watch all 64 teams on all of the ESPN family of networks. So make sure you keep that in mind moving forward. One of the over-unders we just pushed back to start this hour. In Nick Saban's first year in the NFL, Kev. Yeah. He won 9 games with the Dolphins. Pete Carroll, did you know? I forgot. I mean, he won 6 games in his first season as head coach of the Jets. He was also the head coach of the Patriots at one point. Yep. And then, of course, coming in with the Seahawks. So Nick Saban won 9 games in his very first season as an NFL head coach, which, by the way, isn't bad. Yeah. People acted like, the dude could win a game. He won some game. It just, anyways, this is besides the point. Pete Carroll won 6 games in his first season as a head coach with the Jets. Chip Kelly won 10 games with the Eagles in his very first NFL head coaching season. Urban Meyer heading into his very first head coaching opportunity in the NFL. And I put the over-under at 5.5 wins for Urban Meyer. Now, again, look, the Eagles were a really, really good team that Chip Kelly took over. He was taking over a very good roster that they were hoping that he would implement a lot of his offensive schemes that worked at Oregon. That's why they brought him there. It didn't work. Okay, so every one of these guys took over a roster that was at a different level. Urban Meyer took over a team that had the number 1 overall pick. They have Trevor Lawrence. They had about $70+ million cap space. They had more cap space than any other team in the NFL. I don't think they utilized it that well, but they did some work. They did some damage in the offseason. Now, 5.5 wins. Again, Nick Saban won 9 games in his very first season as a head coach in the NFL. Pete Carroll won 6 with the Jets back in the 90s. Chip Kelly won 10 games in his first season as a head coach in the NFL, Kev. I'm using those college coaches to the NFL to set the precedent here for Urban Meyer. Over under 5.5 wins for Urban Meyer here, heading into his first season as a head coach in the National Football League.
Under.
You're going under, huh?
I'm going under. I'm going they can win 5 games this upcoming season.
5 games. So are one of those games at Cincinnati?
No.
Oh, okay.
Win that game.
1-16 for the Bengals. I like it. Optimism about the Bengals here on 1410 Wing AM. So they open up at Houston on September 12th. That's a win.
Okay, let's play the game.
Urban Meyer, hit some NFL music. Let's give us some music.
And I'm going to keep track of this. Hold on, there we go.
So we got some music in the background. Hopefully, people can hear us just fine. So we're looking at this schedule here. at Houston, week 1. That's a win for the Jaguars, correct?
Correct.
All right, I'll be tracking this too. So 1 for all herbs. Week 2, Denver at home. That's a loss. That defense, Trevor Lawrence, rookie quarterback. Denver, though, not very good offensively, though.
1-1.
That's a loss?
Yeah.
I need to have a fringe. I need to have a column for fringe. Like I can see it going either way. Arizona in week 3, that's a loss. So they're 1-2 to start. Then they have the Bengals in week 4. That's a primetime game, Thursday Night Football. I have them winning that one.
I have them losing that one.
It's going to be a close one no matter what, in my opinion. I think it'll be close, but I have them winning that. So I have them at 2-2. You have them at 1-3.
Yep.
Gets a little tougher. They're at Tennessee, or they're at home against Tennessee in week 5.
Loss.
That's a loss. I agree. They have Miami at home. The Dolphins after that. Another loss.
Loss.
They're at Seattle week 8.
Loss.
So I have them at 2-5.
Oh. No, 2-5. 2-5. My bad. 2-5, and I have them at 1-6.
So I have them at 2-5. You have them at 1-6 at the halfway point. Over under was 5.5. You said under. I said over. I have them at about 7.
I'm about to go on by a heck of a winning streak on your schedule.
Not really, because as I'm looking at this, I'm like, woofa. All right, so Buffalo in week 9. Jesus Christ, we're just going to say a loss. They're at the Colts. I'm saying a win.
You're just saying that.
I'm not sold until I see that quarterback for the Colts actually live up to the expectation. Carson Wentz, nah. I'm going to say the Jags get that win right there. That's 3 wins and 6 losses.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco, it's a loss.
Where is it?
It's at home. It's at Jacksonville.
Well, think about this. If it's a 1:00 kick, same thing we talk about with the Pac-12 teams playing noon games, the body clock, the 9 a.m. versus the anything?
No.
Okay.
This San Francisco team is 2 years removed from a Super Bowl. They only were in the top 5, or they traded up, but they were only in the top 10 in the draft because they had injuries last year. Still a very good team. Top 5 defense in the NFL.
Loss.
And their offense. What?
Loss.
It's a loss. Atlanta in week 12. I'm going to say a win against that defense.
Okay, look at you, Kenny. You are feeling yourself. I'm going to go with a loss.
So then you got the Rams in week 13 and Tennessee in week 14, 2 road games, 2 road losses.
Mm-hmm.
So I have them at 4-9 at that point.
Got him, man.
Now it gets interesting because now in week 15, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans. That's a win. That's their 5th win of the season.
Oh, they're going to sweep the Texans.
It's the Texans. My goodness.
Wow.
It's the Texans. Woofa.
Where is this one?
At home, at Jacksonville. See, week 1, I'm definitely picking Jacksonville just because it's the debut of the quarterback and everything like that, But and then week 16, they're at New York. They're at the Jets. That's their 6th win of the season right there.
I give them that one.
Now,
yes.
They could easily lose these last 2, but I think they split between the Patriots and Colts in week 17 and 18 to close out the season.
You are not high on the Colts.
I'm not high on the Colts because I'm not high on Carson Wentz. So I'm going to have them beating the Colts because they will have that at home
and sweeping the Texans.
I don't think their division's that good. I don't think it's that solid. So that's why I'm like, So I have them at 7. And what do I have? 7 and 10.
Yeah, I got them at what is that? 3 and 14.
So, we might as well just stop. We should have just asked Shaw. Shaw says 2 and 50. We should have just stopped.
He's with me.
Yeah, that's your problem. Don't you see how that's concerning?
So if Urban Meyer goes 3 and 14, what is he going to do?
I mean, I don't know. He gets a pass. There's no stress in year 1 for him.
What?
There's no stress in year 1. They're not expected to win. No one, like the Browns weren't expected to win in year 1 with Baker. The Bengals weren't expected to win in year 1 with Joe Burrow. You're not expected to win in year 1 when you were 2 wins. They had 2 wins. My goodness, the Jaguars are not a good football team. I don't think they're expected to win. So anything else, it's just a cherry on top. So yeah, the Browns are 0-16 and won 7 games. So that's where I'm at with that. Look, at the end of the day, I just don't think that. 3 wins. So you're going to fire Urban after 1 year? You have a rookie quarterback?
I'm not saying that.
You gutted that roster. You got rid of Leonard Fournette. You got rid of every good defensive piece you had over the last couple of years, which Fournette's not good now, but you cleared a lot of cap space. You basically went ham on the rebuild.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's been other coaches fired after 1 year. Tons of other coaches. Your guy, Freddie Kitchens, he got fired after 1 year.
Urban Meyer is not Freddie Kitchens.
I'm just
don't even try entertaining that.
What I'm saying is crazier things have happened. I'm not saying he would get fired, but we know how Herb is when it comes to losing.
But I think
he can't handle losing.
But Urban's not dumb in this situation. I think he can't handle losing when you're expected to win. Losing is part of the expectations in year one. I think here's the difference, though. If they win 3 games and Trevor Lawrence is trash, that's his fault. That's where it becomes stressful. If Trevor Lawrence is trash in his rookie season, that's on Urban Meyer. Like, it's really more about trust. What is wrong with me today? If it's more about the development of the quarterback in Trevor Lawrence than it is about the development of the team. And I think they go hand in hand. The better Trevor Lawrence looks, the better the Jaguars are going to look. But no one expected the Bengals to win last year in the rookie year of Joe Burrow. I think what they expected was a competent team to be able to keep them upright, but that's besides the point. And that's what you get for expecting that, by the way. Bottom line is no, I don't think wins, losses is going to be a factor in deciding the future of Urban Meyer in Jacksonville, but I do think after year one, it will be like, you knew after year one who Justin Herbert was. You knew after year one who Baker Mayfield was. You knew after year one, 9 games, 8.5 games, or 10.5 games, whatever it was for Joe Burrow. You knew who he was. Like, that's the thing. Like, there is no patience with these guys. You know who they are right off the bat. So if they win only 3 games and Trevor Lawrence throws 9 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns, and has 13, 14 interceptions, that's going to be a problem. This team's not great, but they have decent weapons offensively that they can work with. It's not, I think that they have very good weapons to work with here. I don't think this is the worst offensive unit in the NFL. That's all.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that either. I just think them being such a young team, they don't have any veterans. They don't have any veterans in the offensive side of the ball. They don't have veterans on the defensive side of the ball. So, for Urban Meyer's credit, he's getting a bunch of young dudes that are hungry. They're going to be hungry to make a splash in this league and make a name for themselves. So that goes to Urban Meyer's credit that he has a whole bunch of young guys that he'll be able to mold and everything like that. I just see a lot of roadblocks for them because, that defense wasn't good last year. The run game was good last year. That was the best part of their team was the run game. And then you add to that with the ETN as well as bringing in Carlos Hyde. So what are they going to be running the wishbone? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of these moves that Herb is making, I question big time. Because even though I was a Travis Etienne fan, I saw no need for them to draft him in the first round. You already had a running back that was a good running back, and then you picked up Carlos Hyde. So why do you have 3 starting caliber running backs on your team? Like, and I know they're supposed to be working Travis Etienne like as a slot receiver, but if you're running him as a slot receiver, you don't draft a slot receiver in the first round. You know what I mean? So the questionable thing is done not only by Herb, but also, the GM as well.
Coach Shaw says Travis Etienne will be a wide receiver. So,
yeah. I mean, you don't draft a slot receiver that high. You just don't.
So to Facebook we go. Matt Sturgeon says 4-13 at best for Urban Meyer in year one with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sturgeon also says Urban will get at least 3 years to produce. Yeah, I don't think it's anything that Tennessee, Jacksonville, I don't think they're going to be pushing him out the door. But we've seen Urban Meyer, how he reacts to losing before. Well, and again, there's a big difference between losing at Ohio State when you're supposed to win national championships and losing at Jacksonville when you're expected to finish last in your division. It's not like it's not like if they're heading into year 3 and expected to make the playoffs and win their division and they finish with 5 wins on the season, then that's where the Urban antics might come into play. But I don't think those Urban antics come into play here in year one. I just don't. Not. So, and by the way, I love Urban Meyer. This is the most interesting the Jaguars have ever been. I don't think I've ever once thought, we're going to talk some Jaguars football today on the old JK show. On the old segment. A whole JK show segment on the old Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, my goodness. Daryl McKinney says Urban will be the coach before they move to London. to London. That's where they'll be heading. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Look, so, everyone's bringing up, well, will he have a more successful first season in the NFL than Nick Saban and others? I hate when people do that, mainly because of the fact that everyone has a different starting block. Everyone has a different roster. Everyone plays in a different type of division with, so where the roster Nick Saban took over versus the roster that Chip Kelly took over with the Eagles. The Eagles had a playoff roster. The Eagles had a good roster. That's why they brought Chip Kelly in, because they thought that they could use his offensive schemes to take them to that next level. He took them to another level. It's just back a level or two. So
Steve Spurrier was 7-9 his first year with the Washington football team.
Yeah.
If he goes 7-10, if Herb goes 7-10, it's a party going on.
And Urban, I trust. 7-10 is the record of the Jaguars. I just went down. It's obvious. They're all right there. They're already marked in W's.
I got a question.
I got an answer.
So technically, Columbus does not have a pro franchise, even though the Buckeye football team is technically a pro franchise, but they just happen to play in college. That city is split. You get some Cincinnati Bengal fans, you get some Browns fans. Are Buckeye fans up in Columbus Jacksonville Jaguar fans now? I mean, Herb's there. Carlos Hyde is there. I believe Luke Farrell is there.
Maybe Wing will become the Dayton's home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, baby. Jaguars.
Dial it up.
You're listening to 1410 Wing AM, Dayton's home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, the home of the 6-win Jaguars, the home of the last place Jaguars. In Urban, we trust. All right, folks, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Got a little sympathy meter coming up. Hook 'em horns. Horns down, you get a flag thrown on you. I don't get this, man. Texas, you might be the softest program in the history of sports if this actually does come under fire. So there's that. But, hold on. Shaw's correcting you. There are 2 pro franchises in Columbus. Shaw, I don't think that the old kickball counts as a National Football League conversation. I mean, are there 2 NFL teams in Columbus?
Just one, the Buckeyes.
But outside of that,
just the football factory we know as the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Do you think anyone else got confused when you said that there's no pro franchise there? Like, I think everyone know we're talking football, so you probably meant football. Now he's bringing in another type of football to the equation.
The Crew.
Who
else? The Jackets.
Yeah. We'll see. It's soccer and hockey. They have fans, but there you go. Oh, he said he deleted it. Don't care. I caught it, Shaw. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Shout out to Daryl McKinney, by the way, the SEC commissioner. Your time's coming, ma'am. It's almost football season. Because, in the SEC,
it means more.
It just means more. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Little sympathy meter game. I love showing how little sympathy I have for everyone around sports. That's coming up next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy and humid, a high near 90. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low around 70. And tomorrow will be cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 84. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/hire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/hire.
O'Reilly. When it's a warm day and your car's AC is blowing hot air, you need some relief. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and talk to our professional.
polkinglanes.com or Facebook for the list of fall programs. Let the good times roll at Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kingsridge Drive.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Hey everybody, Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. In fact, over 1 million homeowners took advantage of refinancing or buying a new home with Rocket Mortgage. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase again, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. With an official mortgage review from Rocket Mortgage, you'll see just how much money you could save by making a move right now. Don't look back over these next few weeks and wish that you had taken action. You could save hundreds on your mortgage payments or pay off your home loan earlier than planned. You could even take cash out of your home to pay off high interest debt, complete home repairs, or bulk up on an emergency fund. When you want to secure a low rate, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com. Rocket.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kenner for Justin Kenner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
My abs hurt. Oh, my arms hurt. Oh, I'm Kev Nash. I'm so exhausted from working out.
I'm back at it. Locked back
I've
in,
been
man.
at it. This is the best shape I've ever been. Kind of. I shouldn't say ever been in. I was a badass in high school. One of the fastest kids in high school.
Really?
Worst dribbler, worst everything else when it came to basketball, but, it is what it is. But you said the Stairmaster got you.
Stairmaster. I've been back at the gym for, what's today? The fourth day. Finally got back my membership and everything like that. Felt like, man, I really need to get back in the gym. This COVID pounds are really not going anywhere. So I need to work them off. So I've been working on that Stairmaster, 45 minutes in the morning. Then in the evening, I either go or walk around the neighborhood or if it's raining like it was the other day, I'll go lift a little bit or I'll go back to the Stairmaster. But the Stairmaster is a beast. You work everything. Obviously, your legs, works your core. So I just, watch some Netflix on there, man. Try to take my mind off of what I'm doing.
Well, and I hope you lift. Do you even lift, bro? Do you even lift?
A little bit. I do.
Please tell me.
More like activated training. So it'd be like, it's not just strictly bench press or anything like that. I do like some circuit stuff with squats and everything like that.
So here's my advice for people who are bored at night and you want to be entertained. There are two great places to go to people watch. Your local Walmart. That's always a great one. Cool. All right. If you are a creative person that would ever be interested in writing books and you need to come up with some crazy characters for these books, go to Walmart. Second place is go to your local gym. I hope when you lift, you are not one of them fools that stare at themselves in the mirror and like literally just you could tell that they are just falling in love with themselves.
Look at me, man.
I mean, when they do the whole, they sit there and they stare at their muscle and they're like, oh yeah, baby, oh yeah. I mean, you just wait till we get home. Oh yeah, like I can't wait to get you home. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. The people look so stupid at the gym half the time. It's unbelievable. And I always am obsessed with looking around the gym trying to find people using machines wrong. That is always my favorite thing because believe it or not, you can find every night. It never fails. It is what it is. Yeah. So.
Real quick. It is this guy. He used to work out at the Y that I used to work out at, and he works at Planet Fitness where I work out at, and he like does back pedals on the treadmill. Instead of like walking on the treadmill, he walks backwards on the treadmill, and not just like walk backwards. Like he's like jogging backwards.
So I've seen someone on the treadmills where they. It's actually pretty impressive. I found myself like I couldn't look away. He's going 1 foot on one, and then as he's going back, then he hops to the next one. It comes back, and then hops to the next one. I'm like, I'm gonna try that, and bam, bust my damn face. I ain't doing that in front of people. There was one time, it was years ago. I was living at the Province. It was back when I was in college, and a little intoxicated one day, and we're waiting for. They always had the bus that would take you, to the bars and stuff and all that stuff. So we're waiting on that, but inside was the workout room, and on the elliptical in there. I'm I'm just kind of walking on it. We're just screwing around or whatever. And this girl, like, she starts pushing like the button to like speed it up. And I'm being a smart ass trying to keep up with it. But then it started going too fast. So then I'm holding on and I don't know how to turn it off. And I'm a little intoxicated. I'm freaking out. I can't stop. I don't know how to stop. I thought for sure it was going to end in me just face planting and being like flung to the other side of the room. Right. Like that's what I had to. But athletic Kinner over here. I was able to leap and then plant my feet perfectly on the sides. So there you go. It's a sports show. Okay. On to the sports stuff. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. And the show is brought to you by Orion Sports Medicine. Let's play the sympathy meter. Everyone knows Kinner don't have a whole hell of a lot of sympathy for anybody out there, right? That's not true. This is a perfect way to find out. The sympathy meter. Let's get the old sympathy meter logo popped up on there too. Okay, there we go. The sympathy meter. We're playing the sympathy meter game here on the Justin Kinner Show. We're live on YouTube. Head to YouTube, ESPN Dayton. Like, subscribe. You can watch the show and jump in on the conversation on the side. We're also live on Facebook. Search the Justin Kinner Show and watch us live there. COVID. What COVID? Full stadiums, sellout crowds for all-star games, regular season games, NBA Finals, Stanley Cups. Most are enjoying the return to normalcy, Kev. Most, but not all. The Toronto Blue Jays are still waiting for the green light to return to playing home games. The Blue Jays played home games during the shortened 2020 season in Buffalo and started the season in Florida before moving back to Buffalo. Now, it's getting interesting, Kev, because the Canadian government didn't allow the team to play at home in Toronto because of the risk of spreading COVID-19, citing frequent travel required in the U.S. during baseball season. Toronto last played at 49,000 capacity Rogers Center on September 29th of 19. All right, with an 8-3 win over Tampa Bay. The Blue Jays, they signed him before the 2020 season in Rio, and he has yet to pitch a game in Toronto.
Oh, my goodness.
So this is pretty tough. I mean, as you look around, you feel like everything's returning to normal, full stadiums, full everything like that. But then you have a team in Toronto that is just, they have a home field, right? But it's home away from home. They can't go home.
Right.
Sympathy meter 1 to 10 of the Blue Jays right now who are just trying to just get by. And to be honest, I hear people out there that say things like, well, baseball screwed up, that they're screwing them over. Sometimes you do got to do what's best for the group, even if it means it's unfortunate for one. Where are you at in the sympathy meter for the Blue Jays right now? You look at they're 45 and 42. They're 8 games back, but playing on their home field in front of their actual home fans move the needle a little more for them? Is there 8 games back in their division? A full 10 on the sympathy meter.
Full 10, man. You got to think about this, man. You're away from home, and I know they get paid a lot of money and everything like that, and they can probably move their families down to their temporary home and everything like that. When a lot of these guys on the teams, they make their homes in the city that they play in and everything like that. Some of these guys, especially we were talking about the Toronto Raptors in the NBA, those guys were living out of a hotel after playing in the bubble. You know what I mean? So, living out of a hotel ain't fun. Going to a hotel is fun for a weekend or a vacation. Imagine doing that for months at a time. It's not fun. So I have a full sympathy meter all the way at a 10 for especially the players and the managers of those teams, man. It's not fun at all.
All right, so Shaw says 0, and it's stupid. He has no sympathy for the Blue Jays. I don't know how you can't have any sympathy for the Blue Jays. The team can't play at home.
Right.
They haven't got the green light from the government to play at home. This isn't their choosing, Shaw. Like, what? I don't get it. How do you have 0 sympathy for him? I don't get it. He says, Canadians just hosted Stanley Cup. I do believe Tampa is in the United States. Thanks for the geography lesson, Shaw. That's not what this is really about. The bottom line is they're not allowed to play at home. This isn't they're allowed to play at home and they're just choosing not to play. They are waiting on the green light to get the approval to play. This really isn't that hard to figure out. Even old Kindog over here has a full 10 sympathy for these guys. These guys are 8 games back in their division. You have the Yankees who aren't playing well. Baltimore, of course, is just horrible. Tampa, they're good. The Red Sox have had a resurgence of a season right now. The Blue Jays are 8 games back. Maybe they're 5 games back if they get to play more games at their actual home field and everything like that. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I don't know how you do not have any sympathy for this team right now, these players and everything. I have no issue with baseball. Like I was reading today that a lot of people were critical of Major League Baseball, that they should not have moved forward with the season until everybody could play. I actually am not bashing baseball. I have no problem with baseball moving on. All right. Yeah. And you have to. You can't stop completely until you know what I'm saying? But this is one of the things about, like, I don't know why we're so obsessed with, money. That's always the answer. But like globally expanding professional American sports, like I've never understood that mindset. Can you name another professional sport overseas that just thought we need to put a team in the United States? And this isn't I don't want no foreign sports in my country like that. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, you don't see other professional leagues in other foreign countries saying, we need to put a team in the United States. So why does the United States have to constantly do this stuff that, this is a prime example. It exposed weaknesses in this mindset of, we got to have money. Well, now you're putting this team and these professional players, you're hanging them out to dry, basically. They're the ones that are suffering for this because MLB's still getting their money.
Right.
But the players are having to basically waste all of last season and all of this season. I have a full 10 on the sympathy meter for them. And here you thought I was going to be
No, I knew you weren't that heartless. I think what Shaw is talking about with, the Stanley Cup final and everything like that, Canada approved border travel for like the last, for the Stanley Cup, I believe they approved border travel and everything like that.
For a series, not a season.
Yeah, not for a whole season where teams are flying from California to New York to Toronto from like flying all over the place. Like this thing, even though we act like it's over and everything like that, it's not. And it's unfortunate for Toronto that they have to be the oddball out and everything like that. I don't think it's a necessary situation with Major League Baseball expanding too much. I mean, nobody could foresee this coming. And, even though Canada is a different country, we really don't look at Canada as a different country. I remember as a kid traveling to Canada all
we ain't putting a wall up north. I'm just saying, we clearly don't look at them as it is what it is.
We just look at them as like, all right, yeah, that's an extension of us and vice versa.
I do got to elaborate on that real quick, just so I don't get in trouble for that. What I mean is when you say we don't look at Canada as different, it's like, yeah, we're not putting any borders up to keep people from Canada to get here.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, and I'm not saying I agree with that. All I'm saying is that, like, it is what
Toronto
it
is a cool city. I can't wait to go there.
I've never been there. Closest I've been is, really close to speaking Detroit, whatever. I've never been there. I can see it. I can see it off in the distance out yonder.
Toronto is like that, man. I've went twice. I went in middle school and then I went when I was in high school. So I haven't gone as an adult.
What do you do as a middle schooler in Canada?
What do? We took a tour.
You allowed to drink in middle school in Canada?
Probably. It's lit up there, man. It goes in. I forget what the trip was about. Long time ago.
That lit, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, I think we took a tour of the Toronto Dome, was it called? One of them places. Whatever we did. We were in Toronto in the 7th grade, and I had a blast.
So, Shaw says, so another pro sport will allow United States into Canada, but baseball can't play in Toronto. Come on. Okay, so you could disagree with that, Shaw, but why have no sympathy for the players who are, it's not their decision. It's not like the players are saying, well, I don't want to go play in Canada until all this is, they're not allowed to go play in Canada. Like, it's out of their hands. So how could you have no sympathy for the Blue Jays? I don't have sympathy for Major League Baseball as a whole. This is about the team itself. How could you have no sympathy for that team who is out of their control? It says that the U.S.-Canada border, by the way, the U.S.-Canada border remains closed. closed.
Yes, sir.
It got a special waiver for them to be able to hold the Stanley Cup there. So there's that aspect of it all. Let's just be clear. So the U.S.-Canada border remains closed to non-essential travel. Major League Baseball is not considered essential travel purpose. It's not an essential travel purpose there. So there, and it says Major League Baseball will require an exemption for non-vaccinated players and team staff to play games in Canada. That's the other holdup there is, Major League Baseball is not mandating that players get vaccinated, right? Well, Canada is saying, well, we'll let you come play here, but you got to be vaccinated. Right. That's where the other holdup is too. So there's that. And David said, I thought you meant for the organization. Yes, the players, I feel some for the organization, but why not the organization? It's out of their hands. This really isn't that hard to figure out. It's out of their hands. And I didn't ask if you felt bad for Canada. I don't understand. Never mind. We're just going to move on from that one. All right.
You knew where that was going to go.
Never mind. Conor McGregor. Now, this is interesting. And this is how it always goes down. Even the Fury-Wilder fight, Wilder couldn't just lose and say, yeah, Fury was the better man. It was, oh, no, my really expensive bathrobe that I wore to the ring wore me out before the fight. There's always some crazy-ass excuse as to why these guys lose big fights. It's never just, yeah, he was the better man. It's always something dramatic. So Conor McGregor said that he went into last weekend's trilogy against Dustin Poirier with multiple stress fractures in his leg, Kev. Multiple stress fractures in his leg. He went into it. Now, he goes on to put Dana White and everyone on blast because he says the same leg that broke in the final seconds of the opening round is the leg that had the multiple stress fractures in it heading into the fight. McGregor would go on to say that multiple doctors, the UFC officials, and Dana White all knew of his injuries heading into the fight, and there was even talk of pulling the fight, but there were no further discussions. Using the sympathy meter, Kev, of a scale of 1 to 10, how much sympathy do you have for Conor McGregor?
I'm going to use a phrase that my nephew uses. That's big cap. That's a cap. That's called, I'm not going to call him a liar. I just don't feel any sympathy. So I'm going to say a 10. Full 10, man. I don't have no sympathy for you. You out here talking reckless about dude's wife. You out here talking reckless about trying to kill him.
To be fair, she really was in his DMs. Like he
she in my DMs now. That was a good line of
He had receipts, man. You're all about, you tell me all the time. Receipts. He had the receipts. He was cold too. He didn't even accept it.
I don't feel no sympathy for him, man. Like, look, man, it is a combat sport. That's exactly what MMA is, man. It's a combat sport. If you're that injured and you don't feel like you can perform, you call up the fight. Just call up the fight and reschedule. There's been plenty of other fights that have been rescheduled due to, injuries. I remember back in the day, back before Mike Tyson lost his championship belt to Buster Douglas, he was scheduled to fight Evander Holyfield, but in training, Holyfield got a cut over his eye, had to postpone the fight, then the fight fell apart, yada, yada, yada. But there's been plenty of instances where fights have fallen apart because of injury. So if you were really injured that bad, push it back until you're healed up. So I have no sympathy.
Now, let's be clear. I don't think he lost. I think that, look, based on the rules, I guess he lost. He literally took a step back, and then you had Poirier dancing around the ring. And I knew I was going to win. I knew I was going to do that. You didn't do nothing. He literally lost by stepping backwards. And I believe that there were fractures in that leg. And by the way, that's called being tough. Because if he would have backed out for those, everyone would have said, see, he's afraid. He's backing out of the fight. He's making excuses. So these guys can't win for nothing. If they fight injured and lose, it's, he's just making excuses because he lost. But if they back out of the fight until he's healthy, it's, see, he's afraid. He's making excuses. The guy, he had no chance. But there needs to be a fourth one because Poirier did not win. He did not knock him out. He didn't do anything. Yeah. So
where are you at?
Oh, but the sympathy meter for Conor McGregor? Oh, damn, I forgot I have to answer this.
Yeah.
So if Dana White, and by the way, they're trying to get an official statement from UFC, and they won't release one. So I believe him. Shaw says he doesn't believe anything. I believe him. The fact, until I see a statement from, and by the way, because UFC has to be careful with whatever statement they release.
Very true.
They can't say, we didn't know about it. But if they knew about it, that's like,
let him go out there.
That'd be like a team's medical staff knowing that someone's not cleared to play and they let them play anyways. Now they're open to a lawsuit. So I'm just saying, I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. Look, Poirier winning, I wouldn't have been shocked if Poirier would have won. I still think that I had my money on McGregor. all entertainment purposes only. So doesn't matter. Point is, sympathy meter, I'll be at a 6. I mean, I'm not losing sleep for the guy by any means, but I mean, the guy tried to fight hurt. If he would have tried to back out of the fight because he was hurt, we would all call him a wuss and say that, oh, he's just making excuses, yada, yada, yada. All right, on to the next one. This one's interesting. So Stephen A. Smith was in the headlines a lot this week for insensitive comments that he made regarding Ohtani and Nigeria in the Olympics. Stephen A. said that Ohtani cannot be the face of Major League Baseball in this country due to him not being able to speak English or be able to speak without a translator. He also disrespected a couple of the players on the Nigerian Olympic basketball team by basically just brushing over their name, saying he didn't know how to pronounce their name and saying it didn't matter, basically insinuating that, it's the U.S., it's the talent in the U.S. is so we shouldn't be hanging around with Nigeria, right? Like that's, basically where he got at. Of course, it led to this huge apology tour for Stephen A. Smith. He voiced many apologies across ESPN's Get Up, his ESPN Plus show, Stephen A's World, and on ESPN Radio. Now, all appears to be fine. No action was taken by ESPN, but our guy, Marty Brennaman,
the legend.
I love Marty Brennaman. Marty Brennaman made this interesting. Marty Brennaman, who has had a Twitter account for a long time, but he revealed the Twitter account after he officially retired because the dude would get in trouble for things he would say. The Marty on the mic and social media at the same time he could do some damage. So luckily he just has the social media thing to go off of now. But he brings up a good point, Kev. He says, Marty Brennaman tweeted to the apology of Stephen A. Smith on Twitter, saying that he wishes that his son's employer would have been as forgiving as his. He said he respected Stephen A.'s sincerity and his heartfelt words. He told Stephen A. to keep up the great work. So now it's interesting looking back at the Tom Brennaman thing, because I thought Tom Brennaman came across as very, I thought he was sincere. I don't think that Tom Brennaman brushed that off. I also don't think that Tom Brennaman was trying to offend anybody. I think that he was nice. Me and you have had this conversation before. I think we're too quick to accuse people of you're racist or you're a homophobe or you are this or you're that. I think there needs to be a category of just being insensitive. And I think that's what Tom Brennaman's, handling of that really was. It was more of an insensitive point. So with that being said, I do believe that, it was more insensitive. He was quoting a movie line. They were in Kansas City. I'm not defending it or saying that it's okay. But if ESPN can take what Stephen A. Smith said and be able to allow him to apologize and be able to let the chips, fall where they lie, Fox could have done the same thing with old Tom Brennaman here. So on a sympathy meter scale of 1 to 10, Kev, where are you at after watching Stephen A. Smith get not a pass, but he's able to keep his job and move on for saying insensitive comments. Tom Brennaman made insensitive comments and lost his job. Where are you at on the sympathy scale for Tom Brennaman when you look at the differences and how it's handled? I thought Marty Brennaman pointing that out was very interesting. Let's just put it that way.
Same as I was when it happened. It's a 7. It's a 7, and not saying that what he said wasn't wrong, but you and I both know we've been in radio for a long time now. When you jump on this microphone, and especially you're having conversations with somebody you consider a friend, sometimes you let your guard down and you actually forget that you're talking on the radio, and you forget that so many people are listening to you and everything like that. And you may let a word slip out that shouldn't be going over FCC airwaves, or you say something that isn't meant for, public consumption. So I felt bad for him then. Absolutely, he should have been punished. Fired, I was a little off with that. I wasn't with him being fired. Punished, yeah. Hey, man.
Suspended.
Suspended, take a week off without pay, and then come on here, give your heartfelt apology to everybody, and let's get back to business as normal. There has to be room to allow people to grow, and there has to be room for people to allow to make mistakes, because if we're going to just fire and cancel everybody or for one mistake, then nobody will learn and nobody will grow from anything. Because what'll happen is if you make a mistake and you're automatically ostracized and thrown under the bus and canceled and everything like that, you're going to become defensive, and then that's going to create defensive people on the other side. And everything like that. So you have to allow people room to grow, and have to allow room for people to be able to express themselves and make mistakes and be able to bounce back from those mistakes.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, like the Stephen A. thing that I thought was interesting is that people, and Stephen A. is such a polarizing figure that people just wait for him to screw up And, look, half the people that were ticked off at Stephen A. Smith, it's just because they wanted to be mad at him for something.
Right.
And it turned into, oh, no, you're a hypocrite. How come you get to keep your job? But there's a whole list of guys that have lost their job. Well, we're not saying it's right that everyone loses their job, but I do think that every situation is different. And I actually put what Stephen A. said and Tom Brenneman said, two vastly different topics of conversation, but what they both said was something that was insensitive. I don't think what they said was outright, racist or homophobic one way or another. No one said, I don't like this race or I don't like anyone who's gay or anything like that. It was insensitive comments, insensitive jokes that were made. That's where I just think that there's no margin of error. It's the second you say something wrong, it's okay, you're done. We're done. And that's where cancel culture has become very divisive, because it's not about learning from your mistakes or educating anyone on anything. It's about, oh, you made an insensitive joke, you're gone. It's like, well, then how is anyone going to learn from that? Because what canceling someone does is it sparks an emotion from people all over that it just creates anger. And now when you see this thing happen, you just associate it with anger right away, and no one's learning anything. So I feel like that could have been a very tight rope to walk right there. But at the same time, I do think Marty was right, saying I wish that Tom Brenneman's employer would have been a little bit more understanding of that situation. Suspend him. Maybe you're done for the rest of the season. Right. Come back next year. Let it kind of breathe a little bit. But very interesting. I didn't want Stephen A. to lose his job over that. I didn't want Tom to lose his job over that. Right. There's a difference between what they said and then you found those recordings of the Clippers owner. Right. Those were outright racist comments by the owner of the Clippers. The insensitive, there was not racism from Stephen A. Smith. They were insensitive comments. And I think everything should be handled. There should be some kind of a scale on that. Last one here on the sensitivity. That's the classes you have to take if you say those insensitive things. Sympathy meter. Clemson football's assistant coach and defensive coordinator, Brent Venables. Okay. He was made the highest paid assistant coach in all of college football. Kev, this dude is making almost $3 million. Making just a little over about $2.6 million. Highest paid assistant coach in college football, okay? Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day makes just north of $5 million. So read a couple articles today, people upset that Ryan Day, one of the top coaches in all of college football, again, people love bringing up people's money, and I'm doing it right now. Sympathy meter for Ryan Day on a 1 to 10. How much sympathy do you have for Ryan Day, who is one of the top coaches in college football, playoffs every year, top recruiting class after top recruiting class, that he's only making $2.5 million more than an assistant coach at Clemson? Oh, goose egg, huh?
Goose egg, man. Come on, man. Goose egg. Goose egg, goose egg, goose egg. I have no sympathy for him with that, man. The whole situation comes down to this, man. College football is one of the most corrupt things in the world, man. You look back at Steve Spurrier back in 1997. He was the first coach to make $1 million. If a coach right now is making $1 million, you're laughing at him. So think about that inflation rate from then to now. And you're talking, and Brent Venables is a great coach. He does a great job. You know what I'm saying? I ain't knocking him. And I ain't knocking Urban Meyer or any other coach, Ryan Day, whatever coach. Get your money. But the fact that people are mad that Brent Venables makes more than Ryan Day is laughable. You need to be concerned about the money that you bringing into your own house, because trust me, Ryan Day is A-okay.
And by the way, good for Clemson for valuing the importance of having a good assistant coaching staff. We talk about the importance all the time of Nick Saban's constantly having to reshuffle the deck because his top assistants are being plucked every year. Clemson is trying to avoid that happening. And to be honest, making them the highest paid assistants doesn't always work. In fact, Steve Sarkisian was the highest paid assistant in college football last year, and he took the Texas job. Right. That brings us to our last sympathy meter. Oh, by the way, zero sympathy at all for anybody. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, man, Ryan Day only makes $2.5 million. I mean, he makes $4 million less than Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney. And an assistant coach on Dabo Swinney's staff makes $2.5 million less than Ryan Day. I get why that's a talking point. I get that it's low-hanging fruit for people to grab and run with it, but we could stop it.
I do want to say something to all the boosters out there who are thinking like, man, we need to pay our coach more so he's making more money. That money that you're thinking about giving to Ryan Day, go spend it on a player. Go spend it on some linebackers.
I thought they were.
More linebackers. More players.
Now they can do it over the table.
Get more players to the school, because that's important. More important than Ryan Day making more money than Brent Venables. Get more players. Pay for the players.
Shaw says
legally now.
Shaw says, I wish Michigan would pay assistant coaches. Shaw, to get to the point where you're paying good assistant coaches, you have to have a good head coach. I mean, Michigan's still looking for a good head coach. They're not even worried about the assistant coaches. They're still worried about their head coach. Now, what's Hookem? What's the Hookem signal?
Horns,
okay, now do it the other way. Penalty.
On me?
On you. So
break this down for me.
The Texas Longhorns are officially the softest program in the history of college athletics, and I'll tell you why. The Big 12 has announced, again, the Big 12 coordinator of officials, Greg Burks, has announced that the Big 12 will be cracking down on taunting towards the Texas Longhorns players and fans with the horns, or with the horns down gesture. So Texas, Ohio State fans, we do the OH. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like every school has something that they do, right? Like, if it's a team at the Wolf Pack, they do this and all that stuff, whatever. So when teams taunt the Longhorns, they do the horns down.
Right.
I have no issue with that. It's not the middle finger or anything. So now the Big 12 is coming down on the entire conference saying, if you do the horns down gesture to any player on Texas or the fans, the officials will throw a flag. It'll be a penalty. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. At Michigan, it's no different than at Michigan, like when Ohio State, if they pop the little Heisman, if they always make a big play or something. Gee, I wonder why they're doing that. How is that any different when players, score a touchdown against Ohio State or whatever, they do the OH thing right back at them. It's all it's all in the thick of things. I don't mind it. Of all the things that are wrong in our world, I don't think horns down is one of those things that they're really spending time on, wasting time trying to figure out how to get rid of that. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry. I have no sympathy for so the sympathy meter, 1 to 10 on the scale. How much sympathy do you have for the Texas Longhorns program that it got to the point to where they had to cry to the officiating crews to change this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Negative infinity. Negative infinity
and 1 for me.
Because this is garbage. Look, man, if you want to say you can't do the horns down to a player, okay, that's cool. But you can do horns down after scoring a touchdown. You can do horns down to the fans. That's perfectly fine. Just like you can't do the gator chomp to a Florida player in their face or anything to a player's face, like smack talk, like that's taunting. Fine. You want to say that's taunting? Okay, I'll play your game. But being able to do the horns down at all, you saying I can't do it at all? Nah, man, that's not cool at all. I'm not with that. That's soft. That's weak. And furthermore, that shows that, since Texas has their own network and Texas is Texas and all that great stuff like that they bring in more money, allegedly, to the Big 12 than any other school. They flex their little muscle and say, we don't want you guys to do that to us anymore. We don't like it. Well, win some games, bruh. Win some games and they won't be able to do it. You know what? There's no reason why Oklahoma should be better than Texas at football. But decade after decade, Oklahoma is a better program. And Oklahoma will continue to be a better program because they ain't soft like y'all. Texas football, outside of that run y'all had with Vince Young and Colt McCoy, y'all have been garbage. Y'all been hot garbage since they allowed everybody to play. And what I'm talking about everybody to play, I'm talking about integration. Since integration, y'all been garbage outside of Vince Young and Colt McCoy. Texas kick rocks.
Yeah, and of course, Shaw says, why is this on the Texas football team? It's not like Texas football went to the officials and said to do this. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what this is. It would be no different if teams were going at Ohio State
because it's a Pac-12. It's a Big 12 rule.
It's it is what it is. Look, I'm at the point now, and by the way, I have 2 words for you. It's a name, Marcus Hall. Remember Marcus Hall?
Yes. Double birds
to the Team Up North fan base on his way out of the gate. He didn't get a flag for flipping out. He was on his way out, but he
got kicked out the game.
Shaw, we're in the report to say this. I read it as well. There's 85 freaking reports, Shaw. My God, I don't know what the hell you do every single day, but go find it. Just Google it, find it, do what you got to do. But this goes back to last season when the coach after the game was having throwing a hissy fit because the opposing team was doing the horns down in his players' faces, and he said that there's no room in the game for that. Are you kidding me? There's plenty of room.
If y'all win, they can't do it. It's as simple as that.
Texas is back to being whiny. And he called me an a-hole, by the way.
Oh, Shaw?
Yeah.
Oh, let me screenshot that.
Just hit the dump button. Oh, wait. Yeah. All right. So that it is what it is. But yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But good point with the gator chop and all that. Like, I mean,
you can't do any taunting gesture in anybody's face.
So if you look around, so the fans are throwing stuff at you, calling you names, calling you everything in the book. And if you look back at the fans and do the horns down, you're getting a penalty against you.
That's weak sauce.
The officiating crew in the Big 12 is literally spending time discussing this. This is what is insane.
And you're putting more on the officials of the game. Like, now I have to worry about this as well as worrying about, is that defensive back holding him? Is that offensive lineman grabbing him? I got to worry about dude doing this to anybody. Like, before, obviously, I had to worry about him doing it to a player. Now I got to worry about him doing it to the sideline, to the crowd, for goodness sakes. The crowd is out here booing him, calling him every name in the book, and he scores a touchdown, and he does the horns down, and he gets a penalty. Bogus.
Yeah, and Shaw, you called me a name. I'm going to call you a name because that's how the child I am. Don't be a moron on this. This is really easy to follow. He said, well, where did it say that Texas did that? Is horns down a problem across the Big 12? Really? Like, is Oklahoma doing horns down to Kansas State and other? No, they're not. It's still one program and one program only. Like, don't make this overcomplicated, Shaw. Kind of keep up with the rest of us, would you? Well, I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. We'll be back. Hour 3 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Taking a Reds game from the Kroger bleachers for some fun in the sun this summer. Offering one of the best values at the ballpark, the Kroger bleachers are a great location to watch the action with family and friends while cheering on your Reds. Plus, you can take advantage of the Kroger meal deal at every game, which includes a hot dog, soft drink, chips, and a snack. Get your tickets today at Reds.com.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
The real estate market is always tough, but this market, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. When the average home stays on the market just 24 days and houses routinely go for more than the listing price, who you work with matters. Realtors have the expertise, local knowledge, and personal touch to give you a competitive advantage throughout the entire home buying process. And that's something an ordinary agent could never do. So make sure your agent is a realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Napa know-how. Get 20% off 3 or more items with the $2.99 Napa Bucket. Yep, save on wipers, headlights, brake pads, motor oil. Wait, how long is this list? Wow, floor mats, boat batteries, towing parts. I'm not sure we have time to read all this. Let's just say save 20% on a lot. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. At participating locations, exclusions apply. May not be combined with other offers. Offer ends 7/31/21.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Tired of deciding what to cook tonight? Frickers is ready when you are with everyone's favorite ribs and frickin' chicken chunks. Tender baby back ribs and frickin' chicken chunks, only $12.99 dine-in only. Take the day off as kids 10 and under eat free every day. And you can relax and let Frickers take care of everything. Baby back ribs, frickin' chicken chunks, and kids eat free at the one place that makes lunch, dinner, or late night easy. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Baby back. Baby back.
You know, a few days ago while hanging out with my family, I noticed my father staring blankly at me. Something's not right, I thought. Is he having a stroke? Then I remembered to act fast, F-A-S-T, and did this quick test. F, face. I asked my father to smile. One side of his face drooped. A, arm. I asked him to lift both arms, no problem there. S, speech. I asked him to repeat a phrase. His speaking was slurred. Time. I called 911 for immediate help. This way, he began receiving life-saving treatment in the ambulance. My father was out of the hospital in a few days, all because he made it to the hospital within an hour of his stroke. Practice recognizing the signs of a stroke so that you can act fast to save a loved one.
This message is brought to you by the Ohio Department of Health's Covered L Stroke Program.
Buying a car on the internet, this is for you.
Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. If you're buying a car online, here are a few easy steps to keep yourself safe. Just remember CAR. C, contact the seller to confirm their identity. A, assignment, a title free and clear of liens and properly assigned. R, research. Find a way to pay for the car by using a secure method where you can dispute the charge in case of fraud. Call us at 225-4480.
Brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
Your child's teeth and gums need the right nutrition and care to grow strong and stay healthy. A back-to-school dental appointment can diagnose any potential problems and improve your child's oral health. Ohio Dental Association member dentists are located throughout the state, are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and obtain superior ongoing education and training. Ask if your dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Staples Connect has everything you need for back to school at amazing prices. Right now, 8 packs of Pep Rally No. 2 pencils, Staples pencil cap erasers, and Staples comp books are just 50 cents each. So your student won't just be ready for school. They'll be first day of school pop quiz ready.
It's showtime.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back to school today and get more than ready for school with amazing prices for everything on your list. Ends 9/18. Pencils in store only. Offers may vary online.
Staples Connect has everything to help you get ready for back to school with amazing prices for everything on your list. Visit your local Staples store, staplesconnect.com, and be more than ready for school. Staples.
The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. We're live. We're local.
What are you going to miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here, hour 3. Shaw's being annoying again. Shocker.
What's up?
He's like, and again, where in the article does it say Texas football went to the officials and said to do this? And he's going and finding all these articles because apparently he needs it in print to understand what anyone with common sense understands. Again, the horns down signal, that is a reaction to the hook 'em horns hand signal. Can you, Shaw, and I'll say it slow, does any other team out there use the hook 'em horns? No, they do not. So therefore, for the Big 12 to come together and actually waste time at Media Day to talk about how there's a new rule that you will be flagged if you do the horns down gesture, what other school would that be offensive to outside of Texas as a play off of their stupid hook 'em horns little logo? It would be no different if with us and the annoying OH chant that we do, because it's not annoying to us, but trust me, it irritates the hell out of everyone that does not sport the scarlet and gray, okay? I'm telling you right now. I think even the scarlet and gray diehards know that. If This would be like in the Big Ten if people were doing the OH chant at us, and all of a sudden the Big Ten officials say, if you do the OH chant to the Buckeyes, you will get a flag thrown on you. Well, why would the Big Ten officials all of a sudden come together and do that? Oh, probably because Ohio State complained, the face of the Big Ten. Texas, even though Oklahoma has been the better program in the Big 12, Texas is the face of the Big 12. When you think of the Big 12, you think of Texas right away. This is not that hard shot to figure out. Who else did Kansas State say, hey, we have a problem with the hook'em horns, the downward horns? Can you guys eliminate? No, because they don't care, because it doesn't impact them, because no one does it to them. There's only one school that they do it to.
I'm sure Matt Campbell is saying, hey, man, you're doing Texas unfair with all their 5-star recruits.
And he says, but that's not saying Texas or anyone else. I can't stand him. I really can't stand him. I'm moving on.
I love you, Shaw.
Yeah. It was
when you and him going golfing?
I want to box now, so I could just knock the hell out of him.
It's on. It's on. We don't need Tyson
I can
Fury.
knock some sense into him.
And Deontay Wilder.
No, Shaw will probably have a couple fractures in his leg that he...
Fracturing me leg.
Yeah. Don't talk about me leg or my lucky arms.
My DMs.
So, is what it is. But yeah, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And again, so this is an article from 2018. This is from 24/7 Sports that Tom Herman, so this actually started because last year Tom Herman was getting ticked off because teams kept doing the hook, like the downward horn signal to him. And he went off into postgame. Texas was getting made fun of last year all the time for how soft they were being about it, because Tom Herman goes on this long rant saying that we've been disrespected for as long as that hand signal has been around. Really? Like, if anything, that's kind of like a badge of honor that like people follow your program enough to know that that's a play off of what you do. You should, like, I just don't have a problem with it. When people make fun of the OH chant, it doesn't bother me. It's almost like, oh, okay, that's just hating on Ohio State fans because we're arrogant, because we actually know that our team's good and your team's crap. That's really what it comes down to. Except Texas is annoying because they say stupid things like we're back and they're back of the Big 12, not winning it. So this started because at the time Tom Herman, the head coach, was complaining about this. He goes, we're kind of used to it. Goes on to say that we've handled ourselves with class many, many, many times when we were faced with opportunities when other teams weren't handling themselves with class. But something needs to be done about this. This cannot continue happening. Our players being disrespected. So Shaw, there you go. Man. This started because of, at the time, the head coach had a problem with his players having a hook'em horn hand gesture towards them. Why are we wasting time on this? I have to stop letting people like him get to me like that. Like, it's a flaw of mine. I really need to work on it.
There's so many ways I could go with that, but I won't. I'll save it for off the air. Me and you talk about it off the air.
No, I'm curious. No, just go ahead and do it. You're going on vacation. I'll just tell people you got suspended if you say something wrong.
No, it's just as simple as this, man. They care more about being disrespected with their little hook'em horns down sign than their little racist song that they sing after every single football game. So, it's just where people are, man. It's a football game. Trash talking is part of the game. You know what I mean? And being made fun of. And don't take yourself so serious, man.
Shaw.
Don't take yourself so serious where somebody's mocking you. It's a game. At the end of the day, it's a game. So have fun with it. You know what? You can stop them doing it by scoring more points than them and winning your game, and they won't do it to you. They'll do it, but they'll be doing it after a loss.
It's my same argument about baseball when pitchers have the nerve just, the bat flip. Well, you know how you get rid of the bat flip? Don't give up the home run, and then there's no bat flip. It's that simple. When the hitters don't like when the pitchers, when they show emotion after a strikeout, you know how you don't allow them to show emotion after a strikeout? Don't strike out. I mean, it's really not that hard to figure out. And now he's saying, and of course you just move on past where it clearly says that if you do not do it to your fans, you probably won't. Shaw, do you realize how dumb you sound even more now? Like, you are literally glossing over the fact that because it didn't say that you will not get flagged for doing, like, they're even saying that if you do the hand gesture towards the fans, Kev, you probably won't get flagged. What do you mean probably? Oh, if you run that stop sign, you probably won't get pulled up. What do you mean? You either will or you won't.
Rules are rules.
Rules are rules. Right? And Shaw's one of them. Rules are rules. Rules are rules. Well, if you run that red light, you'll probably get pulled over. And, so that means if they say probably, that means you probably could. I'm reading that, Shaw, as they probably will. I'm a half glass full kind of guy. There you go.
Oh, goodness.
All right. So
what's today? Seemed like a Monday.
Today is the day that Sean woke up saying, I'm going to be annoying today. He's doing it. He's doing a pretty good job. Okay. So I found this interesting. Real quick, too, news out of the Major League Baseball. The Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees, they were supposed to be the only game on tonight. First game of the second half of the season tonight, but that has been postponed due to a COVID outbreak amongst the Yankees. The Yankees post-All-Star break opener against the Red Sox on Thursday night has now been postponed because of positive COVID-19 tests within the New York Yankees organization. Major League Baseball said the postponement was to allow for more testing and contact tracing. There has been multiple pitchers in the pitching staff that have tested positive and a couple position players that tested positive as of earlier today. And this is, again, coming out of the All-Star break, and they're just wanting, with the new COVID variant that's out there, they're just trying to stay on top of this to make sure that this isn't going to become a rapidly fast, spreading, part of COVID right here. So that's canceled. Who knows how long before they're back out on the field, but interesting nonetheless. There were 51 postponements due to COVID-19 last year. This is just the 8th game postponed due to COVID this year. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, they were on a standalone stage tonight, biggest rivalry in baseball, Sox, Yankees, and everything like that. Another day off. Hopefully everybody tests negative for COVID and get back on the field and everybody's family and them are safe.
Why are you always so negative? Always negative this, negative that. Always so negative. Scott Campbell, finally someone normal to talk to on here, says, I don't understand why they don't have their vaccines. Do people want us to shut down? Oh, look, I don't want to get into that. Look, come on. Scott, I don't want to get into that. The bottom line is if they don't have to get it, they don't have to get it. Baseball does not force you to get it. Now, when you don't get it, you do open yourself to this. But let's be clear. There was a shutdown about a month or two ago. I forgot what team it was, but it was amongst vaccinated players.
Yep.
So even that technically isn't eliminating this altogether, but it does help the decline in that. So, Shaw says he'll plead the fifth on this topic. Yeah, because you sounded so smart earlier with your topic about the Blue Jays. So, yes, please plead the fifth on all topics moving forward. I'll pay you to do that, actually, with all the money we make here, the old WING. So interesting. That's the first big headline in baseball as the second half of the season is supposed to get underway. Space Jam, a new legacy, Kev.
Yes, sir.
On a scale of 1 to 10. What do you think? No. This is fine. On a scale of 1 to 10, because LeBron James is such a hated athlete on social media, I feel like you cannot base the reviews of this movie on social media as the only thing to go on. Like, people are naturally going to hate this because people just love hating LeBron James. I don't know what to feel. I want to watch this. I'm excited about this. One of my favorite movies as a kid was Space Jam. Yes, Michael Jordan was a badass. It was cool that he was in that. It was a crossover of worlds. That was really cool. I think this is cool. The one thing I will say about Space Jam that I think that they screwed up on this is, if you ask kids today, I'm sure they could point out who these cartoons are, but they're not watching Bugs and Lola. They're not watching the Tasmanian Devil. And I thought they got rid of the little Mexican elf guy. What's his name? Speedy Gonzalez. I thought they got rid of him. They brought him back. They brought him back, Speedy Gonzalez. And then they got the skunky guy.
Pepe Le Pew.
But see, he was a ladies' man. I thought they got rid of him too.
Hey, man, I don't want to get canceled on here, man, but he was my hero growing up as a kid. Like, look, get him all.
Pepe Le Pew?
Yeah, man, he stink, but he still get him.
Yeah, well, I thought you were talking about Speedy Gonzalez. I grew up in a Hispanic family. That was my dude right there. The little Hispanic. What is he? He's a cartoon. It don't matter. I mean, let's say it matters what he is. Bottom line is none of the kids watch this growing up now. They should have had SpongeBob in here.
But it's the intellectual property.
Ren and Stimpy. I should have had them in there.
Kids definitely don't watch Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah,
but it's the intellectual property. It's the property. That's the Space Jam is the intellectual property with these Looney Tunes characters. So they weren't going to reboot it and say,
I would have done Jam Space with
our stuff. The bootleg version.
I would have done Jam Space with SpongeBob and Patrick. You see, they're giving Patrick his own show.
I saw that.
That's pretty dang cool.
I'm excited.
Good for Patrick.
For this.
Patrick's worked hard his whole life to, just saying. But imagine Jam Space with Patrick from SpongeBob and SpongeBob. What are some other cartoons you could put there? I mean, you could have done Beavis and Butthead. That'd have been cool.
Yeah, that's right. LeBron's alley.
I mean, just say no. But in all seriousness, Like I said, I just found that weird, but you're right. The property of Space Jam is these cartoons. I just thought that if you're trying to connect with younger kids with this, you should have used cartoons that actually, would resonate with the kids of today. I think it's still going to be big and popular, but everyone out there that's like, oh, the adults criticizing this was meant for kids. If you act like adults aren't going to be flooding to watch Space Jam 2, you are wrong. Now, you're going to get the people, I ain't watching it. It's LeBron James. I ain't going to watch LeBron James on Space Jam 2. No way. No how. So there's going to be that crowd everywhere. Scale 1 to 10, how popular do you think this is going to be?
Oh, this is going to be a home run. This is going to be a home run. I love how we use other sports analogies for other sports. Home run, talking about baseball.
It'll be a fumble or a touchdown. What's it going to be?
A touchdown, home run, grand slam, hole in one, whatever you want to call it. I'll be watching tomorrow. For sure. I'm watching tomorrow, man. I'm excited to check it out, man. And like people.
When are you watching? You go on your lunch break?
What lunch break? No, I'm gonna watch it tomorrow evening, man. But on the serious side, like I'm excited for it. I mean, like anybody out here, like, oh man, LeBron James can't act. Like, he's not an actor. He is a basketball player.
Like, what do you mean he's not an actor? Have you seen him flop out on the floor? He's a hell of an actor.
Speaking of flopping, and not to stop talking about Space Jam, Jay Crowder is coming for LeBron's crown with the flopping.
I'm in the minority on this. I have no problem with flopping. I don't.
Did you see that last night? Oh my goodness!
Do you get mad when quarterbacks do the hard count to get you to jump off sides?
No.
So guys don't naturally jump off sides. They were tricked into jumping off sides.
Dude did a whole tornado spin last night. I'm just being an equal opportunity. Like when LeBron flops, I hate it. When Chris Paul flops, I hate it. When Jay Crowder, who all lights are on him right now, flops, I can't stand it. Like there's a difference between selling the call and flopping. That's all I'm saying. But as far as Space Jam, I'm excited to check it out.
Will that be a flop?
No, it will not be a flop. It's going to be a home run. I mean, the way people consume movies today, obviously at home, it's going to do numbers on HBO Max. It's also going to be in theaters. So it's going to be great, man. It's going to be a fun time, man. Think about it. Like LeBron James is in a movie. Like that's cool. A movie that he isn't co-starring in. I know he's had some co-starring roles or some guest appearances and roles and everything like that. Think about when LeBron hosted SNL. Home run, crazy ratings. He did a great job. When he hosted the ESPYs, crazy ratings. He did a great job. He's a charismatic guy. He has the it factor. He's a fun dude.
That's why he went to LA.
Hey,
really.
People say that. People say that he went to LA to star in movies and, start his media company and, get
what's
his son.
wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly. get his son in, a better position to make a run to the NBA. What is wrong with that? And also, he ended up winning the championship.
These are the same people that I left my job to, we've lived here a long time, but we found a better opportunity elsewhere, more money, nicer schools for the kids, great neighborhood. Just got to do what's best for us. What the LeBron James, what was he doing? He's trying to go better his post-playing day career, better opportunity for his kids. Well, what's he doing? Those are the same people that get all mad at LeBron James over there. I had no problem with him going to LA. I had no problem with him flopping either.
I definitely got a problem with it.
I don't think Space Jam 2 will flop, but I do think that the social media reaction to it will not match the true reviews of it. That's all I'm going to say, is just because social media, people like to just bash on LeBron, but I don't think that's going to be the case. And I don't want to get into the MJ LeBron debate, but he doesn't hide from that.
What do you mean?
Space Jam could have been done by a lot of different athletes out there. He tackled this. I'm curious, MJ had no ownership stakes in that, right? Of Space Jam?
No idea.
He didn't have to sign off on LeBron being in this, right?
I doubt it. I doubt that he has any ownership in it. I mean, I could be wrong, but
could this be setting up a trilogy?
Oh my goodness.
LeBron? Oh, dude, they have to.
Two old men.
They have to. Now, that's what this is setting up.
The 65-year-old and the 40-year-old take on.
So that wouldn't be realistic? The talking bird and the Tasmanian devil? That would be too unrealistic for you.
Absolutely. Have you seen Michael Jordan lately?
Hey, Oh yeah, because when his arm stretched out 55 miles an hour, whatever. That was realistic.
They can CGI his belly down.
Dude, I don't know how this ends. For those of you who see it, I need to know because I'm not going to be able to watch it tomorrow. But do let me know. Does it open the door to a third one?
Of course.
And I'm calling it now. The third one will have MJ and him in it. And the third one will be Team LeBron against Team MJ and SpongeBob, baby, and Patrick. There we go. But in all seriousness, if they don't take advantage of this and lead to trying to, because you'll never get to do the whole MJ versus LeBron thing ever. It's just it's a pipe dream, right? But in this little movie of make believe, you could do it. But the egos of the two, who let two win? It ends in a tie.
Well, the
Monstars blow up the world before. So LeBron's about to hit the shot to win the game, and then the whole world gets blown up by the Monstars. And then we never know who wins between MJ and LeBron James. I just wrote that. I'm trademarking it. No one steal it. That's how the third one will end.
The one thing about LeBron is he doesn't take himself too serious about a lot of this MJ stuff. And
MJ made up stuff just to get him pissed off at people. It's weird. He's a sociopath, man.
And I'm sure there's going to be some Michael Jordan jokes in this movie. I'm almost positive of it. I'm sure Bugs Bunny is going to say, yeah, the other guy did this or something like that. That's funny. Like I talk about all the time, man, you can't take yourself too seriously. Everything can't be serious all the time. This is a game. This is sports. This is a movie. It's supposed to be entertaining. If you take yourself so serious all the time, where's the fun? And that's the problem a lot of people have with a player like Kevin Durant with his burner account and everything like that. I know it can be tedious at times where everybody and their mom, it seems like they're coming for you. But you do have to have fun with it too, man. You do have to have fun with this because at the end of the day, it is a game.
How about this from Lamar? I like this. Lamar Shelley says the third will have Bronny in it now that he can get paid in college.
Bronny ain't going to college.
He may not be good enough to go the G League route. They're already saying he's good, but he's not like 5-star good. Where are you going to go?
I don't know. We're going to find out. But I'm going to call it like this. The third Space Jam movie that will come out, the star of it, we haven't even heard of yet.
If they don't do LeBron versus Michael in Space Jam 3, I will be so angry.
We know.
I will say somewhere they better get these mics and dump button fixed by then because I will be in trouble if Space Jam 3 comes out with Zion or something. Or Trae Young.
I'm telling you, man.
Or Chris Paul's old ass. Come on. He's still turning the ball.
Just like, think about it.
He needs MJ's famous stuff or whatever the hell. What does that drink?
Yeah, MJ stuff. Space Jam. When did Space Jam come out? 96?
I'll never forget one time at Walmart, I saw the DVD there. It was like the greatest day ever. Now you can find it everywhere. But at the time, I was like, oh, man, they have it in DVD? It's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, Space Jam came out in 1996. Space Jam 2 is coming out in 2021. The person that is going to be the star of that isn't even in the NBA. He's probably not even in middle school.
Nah, see, I'm picturing now. You could do MJ and Barkley and some guys from his time going up against LeBron. We should have talked about this with Ron Harper. That was the real important stuff to talk about with Harper yesterday.
Not like how he got recruited and all that good stuff.
It's the best interview no one ever heard. We'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy and humid, a high near 90. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low around 70. And tomorrow will be cloudy with showers and thunderstorms, a high near 84. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
O'Reilly.
If you're ready for an oil change, trust the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your car. Right now, get 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic motor oil and a Wix filter for $33.99. Plus, get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate and double O-Rewards points. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun or a great night out with friends. Looking for the best venue for your upcoming event or party? Check out our VIP suite at Polking Lane South. It's a unique, state-of-the-art VIP 8-lane luxury suite. It's not too soon to book your holiday party. Call today and let the good times roll. Let us book your holiday event at any of our centers. Polking Lanes in Dayton on Wilmington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, or Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kingsridge Drive. Ho, ho, ho!
Tired of deciding what to cook tonight? Frickers is ready when you are with everyone's favorite ribs and frickin' chicken chunks. Tender baby back ribs and frickin' chicken chunks, only $12.99 dine-in only. Take the day off as kids 10 and under eat free every day. And you can relax and let Frickers take care of everything. Baby back ribs, frickin' chicken chunks, and kids eat free at the one place that makes lunch, dinner, or late night easy. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Baby back. Baby back.
Everything you want to hear is on Audible. Stream the bestsellers and the newest hot releases, and stream originals and podcasts too. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Talked about the COVID issues that postponed tonight's Red Sox-Yankees game, the only game that was supposed to be on tonight for the start the second half of the regular season for Major League Baseball post All-Star break. COVID impacted that. That's postponed due to an outbreak within the New York Yankees organization. But a COVID protocol has now pushed Bradley Beal off of the Team USA roster. So that's big for them again. In the world of overreaction, Team USA lost a couple of them exhibition games that mean nothing. They're literally, have you ever heard of the best exhibition team of all time? Have you ever heard of if you want to win an exhibition game, this is the coach to get. If you want, I've never heard anyone talk like that, but Team USA loses an exhibition game, people lose their minds. But nonetheless, that's kind of, they're going to be getting Devin Booker and Middleton and some guys back, on the roster as soon as the finals are over. But they're talking about replacing them. Who do you go out and get? You got to find a big. The problem is there's no good bigs. People started making something about, when Jalen Rose said that Kevin Love is on the roster as the token white guy. One reason when constructing that roster, there are probably more athletic bigs that you could have put on that roster, but they weren't bigs. Like Kevin Love is an actual big. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that Coach Popovich did in their win 2 days ago was they're not trying to they're like, well, we're not a very good defensive team. So rather than trying to force a square peg in a round hole, we're just going to put scoring units out there. Mm-hmm. But Kevin Love is added to the roster just because he's one of the few solid bigs. The best bigs in the NBA, they're not American-born players. Right. The MVP this year is not an American-born player. American players are not trying to grow up to be Shaq anymore. Right. And the tall American players are growing up trying to be Kevin Durant. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way the game's played in the U.S., but it does catch up with you when you go and you take your country's best players on tour, basically, in the Olympics. So Bradley Beal's out. I don't think you try to replace him with another guard. I think you got to try to find someone out there that just has size. But at this point, it looks like they're just trying to go outscore some guys.
Yeah. You think about it like this. You dial up Julius Randle.
Why not? They need big guys. I mean,
I'm trying to think. Like,
the best bigs in the NBA are all foreign players.
Right. Yeah. They're not from here. I mean,
this not exposed. I heard someone say exposure. That sounds like has a negative connotation to it, but it did bring to light that I'm like, oh yeah, that, you know, growing up, you had your Tim Duncans, your David Robinsons, your Shaquille O'Neals, you had your American born post players. I can't think of any legitimate American post players that played the old school. I mean, Randall might be the closest to that. So not bad.
And I mean, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah. Like I was saying, they're lucky that Bam Adebayo chose to play for the United States. Like,
does he have dual citizenship?
He's a dual citizen, so he can choose to, you know, play for whomever.
Where else does he? Or
Nigeria. His parents are from Nigeria, so I mean, they're lucky he chose to play for us. I mean, you call up Brooke Lopez.
Did you see someone that called Stephen A. Smith out that said that don't be disrespectful to Nigeria and don't act like you can't pronounce. If you could pronounce Coach Krzyzewski, you could pronounce. And I was like, that's actually a very good point. Like, you can't argue it because the name wasn't even that difficult of a name. I can't remember who, but bottom line, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was an interesting.
And I've in recent years, I've tried to do that, and I have very difficult times pronouncing regular. Well, not even regular. I have difficult times pronouncing.
What are you trying to say, Kev? Are you trying to say that if you don't have a regular name, you're not,
yeah, exactly.
You need to apologize.
Exactly. I have trouble pronouncing names in general. So when it's a name that you're not used to seeing or used to saying, like, you know, I believe the one guy from Penn State, he went by Joe or something of that ilk. But now that he's in the NFL, he wants people to pronounce and learn how to pronounce his full name and everything like that. He's from, you know, a foreign country or whatever. So I respect that, man. I mean, you know, the least that we can do as people is, you know, pronounce people's name right, but they do have to give us wiggle room to learn how to say it, though.
God, so if you think some of the post players that Team USA has had in years past, because we're a decade removed from the dominant post play era in the United States, like as far as U.S. born players. I mean, that's why on Team USA, it started winding out a decade ago. I mean, that's why you had Jermaine O'Neal as one of your best post players on the Team USA roster. You had David West. You know, like you don't really have Tyson Chandler, which we scoff at those names in the NBA, but like those were the best post options you had as far as U.S. born players. And in today's game, I'm like, but why not Zion?
That's a good pick.
I don't know what happened. I mean, did he turn it down?
I have no idea. It's a lot of dudes out there that could potentially go, but you know, defensively, you know, you want to be able to switch on the pick and roll and all those type of things and everything like that. So, you know, a Zion would.
What
be
about
a good
Cat?
pick.
Karl Anthony Towns.
He's Dominican.
Anthony Davis. I get why he's injured, but what'd you say?
Cat is Dominican. He's from the
Is he?
DR. Yeah.
But see, some like I know what was the other player that everyone was complaining about. Like, why didn't the U.S. get him? But people forget, you know, some of these aren't U.S. born players. Yeah, DeAndre. Oh, yeah. That he's what, Jamaican or
Bahamas?
So he's from the Bahamas. Okay, so I mean, like, you just it is what it is. But all the dominant post players in the U.S. are not from the U.S.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you talked about Karl Anthony Towns. He's from the DR. You know, so and they also have, like, if you commit to playing for a team like the Dominican Republic, which Karl Anthony Towns did in his younger days and everything like that, you can't say, hey, all right, now I want to play for the United States like that. They
my team's eliminated. Can I?
Yeah,
can I sport the whole U.S. of A?
You can't jump ship like that and just like keep flopping around teams and everything like that.
But see, you know, back in the day, you know, we would not mock, but like some of the good post players, like Thiago Splitter, very good post player. But when you run into those guys in the Olympics, it's like, okay, for your Thiago Splitter, we have Tim Duncan and Shaquille O'Neal. So please get out of our way. Now it's the Thiago Splitters of the world dominating the U.S. players because we don't have any dominant interior post guys. Like Kevin Durant 20 years ago would have been, you know, he would have had to have found a way to be a post player one way or another. Now
they got him playing a 5. And that's the crazy part. I mean, Kevin Durant's barely over 200 pounds. And
but by the way, it's not about play. I mean, everyone has to. I know we talk about positionless basketball. Someone's running the 5.
Yeah.
But you're not play. There's a difference between being the 5 and being a 5. Yeah. Like he's the 5, technically filling the 5 lane. But you know, I'm talking about true post players that are going to live on the block and defend on the block. Kevin Durant's not a good block defender.
It's the defending thing is the problem. Like he can guard on the post. But depending on who he's guarding, like he's not going to guard Joker on the post. He'll guard LeBron on the post. It's a total difference. Like what the Joker is trying to accomplish in the post is two totally different things than what LeBron is trying to do in the post. LeBron is trying to turn the corner and go dunk it or shoot a fadeaway. Joker's trying to put you through the rim and just body you to death. Like, those are two totally different things. So, yeah, they're going to have their hands full.
They also have no versatility because the thing is, too, like LeBron James, LeBron could be your point guard, or next time down the floor, he'd be your post defender, or he'd post you up. I mean, he could do a lot. Hell, even Dwayne Wade was a good he could actually defend in the post, as crazy as that sounds. He was actually one of the better defensive small guys out there. I mean, you would never purposely put him on the post, but he actually was very strong and could handle it. Point is now, like, there's your scores and that's it. That's what this whole roster is built up of. But it is what it is. When you have that type of scoring, sure, there's other teams around the country that have, or around the world that have better post players, but no one around the country, no one around this world has better scores. And that's the one thing so Popovich saying, you know what? We're going to stop trying to force a square peg in a round hole with this whole defensive approach, and we're just going to make them with their post players. Like, that's the thing. And it's smart. Like, this is why we always talk about, teams going small. And that's what Team USA has to do. Instead of trying to find a way to play against their post players, you need to force them to find a way to have their post players play against you. Because their traditional post players, the old reason we always say is, well, the old traditional post players, not that they wouldn't be good in today's NBA, but they would have weaknesses because can they chase you out on the perimeter and defend you? Well, can these foreign post players consistently enough chase you, your 7-footers around the 3-point line, pull them away from the bucket, and now you have your Bradley Beals of the world who's no longer on the roster, but you see my point.
Yeah, and another thing, we talk about defense, just because they're not going to be like the Detroit Pistons of the 2000s doesn't mean they can't play good defense. Defense is more than just like muscling up and everything like that. They can turn up the pressure. They can go AAU style and, put on a full court press and everything like that. And
play quick.
Play fast. And like, all right, we won't have to play defensive possessions if we get turnovers and steals and layups and dunks. So that's always been the U.S. strategy since they had pros in the Olympics. So I don't see that changing at all.
All right. So when we come back, a couple things I want to touch on to close out the show when we come back. So what's more likely to happen? There's a couple of different scenarios to think about during the commercial break, and we'll take your responses. We're live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. Like, follow, subscribe. You can watch the show live weekdays from 3 to 6. Also on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. You can follow along there. Subscribe to that as well. What's more likely to happen in 2021, Kev? Don't answer. Just ponder during the break. Our listeners, same thing, because we'll all discuss as a group. We'll come together as a little group when we come back. Notre Dame winning a playoff game in 2021. What's more likely to happen? Notre Dame winning a playoff game this season or Michigan making the playoffs this season? What's more likely to happen? Here's another one. What's more likely to happen this upcoming NFL season, Kev? The Bengals making the playoffs or the Browns missing the playoffs? What's more likely to happen? The Ohio State Buckeyes and Ryan Day winning a national championship. What's more likely to happen this season? Ryan Day and the Buckeyes winning a championship or the Jaguars and Urban Meyer making the playoffs? Which one is more likely to happen? And last but not least,
I like these.
Which is more likely to happen? The Wright State Raiders winning their first ever NCAA tournament game. What's more likely to happen? That or the Dayton Flyers missing the NCAA tournament altogether? Which is more likely to happen? And you can't say both. Which is more likely to happen? We'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. My favorite one of those, by the way, which is more likely to happen? The Bengals making the playoffs in 21 or the Browns missing the playoffs in 21? Which is more likely to happen? We'll discuss to close out the show when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
O'Reilly. This is Claudia's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
I had just moved to a new city and barely even knew where the grocery store was yet. When my car wouldn't start one morning, I didn't know who to ask about local shops. But I remembered a name from back home, O'Reilly Auto Parts. I called and they pointed me to a great mechanic just down the street. Now I feel a little more at home.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Staples Connect has everything for school at amazing prices. Right now, Staples one-subject notebooks are only 25 cents each, and Crayola 24-count crayons, 2-pocket polyfolders, and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each. So your student won't just be ready for school. There'll be tons of drawings to hang on the fridge ready.
We're going to need a bigger refrigerator.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back-to-school and get amazing prices for everything on your back-to-school list. Ends 9/18, limit 30, notebooks in store only. Offer may vary online.
Dutch Boy's new Platinum Plus paint with Stain Shield technology has the performance you expect from a luxury paint at a price you didn't. Platinum Plus is up to 50% more washable and stain resistant than a leading premium paint in satin sheen. Superiority ranges from 24 to 50% depending on sheen selected. Platinum Plus keeps your walls looking new longer. Menards and Dutch Boy paint have you covered. Go ahead, live your life.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Savings or mail-in rebate. See store for details.
The Cash Explosion Cash Contest is a nationwide contest for your chance to win $1,000 daily. No purchase necessary to enter or win. You will receive an email confirming entry. One winner will be chosen for each day. Contest is open to U.S. residents 18 years or older. Contest is sponsored by participating Alpha Media, Aptivada, or their parent, subsidiary, and affiliated entities. Advertising agencies, promotional partners, and members of families or households are not eligible to enter or win. Odds of winning depend on number of entries received. Contest is subject to all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations. Void where prohibited. Participants must sign all contest release and waiver forms to be eligible to win the prize. The contest begins on Monday, July 5th, 2021, and ends on Friday, July 30th, 2021. To participate in the contest, you must listen to the participating radio station at the specified times and enter the word that wins at wingam.com. Contest sponsors are not responsible for technical failures or malfunctions of any kind. For full contest rules, please visit wingam.com. Decisions of station management with respect to the contest are final.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you're looking for a little more out of your engine. Some fuel treatment could help. Right now, we've got buy one, get one free on Chevron Techron Complete Fuel System Cleaner. Plus a $1 bonus reward for AutoZone Rewards members. Not a member? Don't worry. You can join the program fast here at the store or on AutoZone.com. Get what you need fast and get the job done easier.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Great values are happening now during Lowe's Summer Savings. Save on select appliance special values. Plus, save an additional $50 when you buy 2 or more appliances, $396 or more. You'll also find new lower prices on ceiling fans, landscape lighting, and more. So shop Lowe's today. In-store must ask cashier to apply discount. Must purchase 2 or more appliances, each totaling $396 or more. Can't be combined with more discounts. Savings varies based on eligible total purchase. See Lowe's.com for restrictions. Valid 7/15 through 8/4. U.S. only.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
No Reds baseball tonight. The Reds return to action tomorrow night, game 1 of a 3-game set against the Milwaukee Brewers. The Reds 6 games above 500 at the halfway point, or at least at the all-star point of the season. And right now, 4 games back in the NL Central. Reds looking to go on quite a run here to get back into the top of the NL Central standings. I think that there's a good, look, they're going to be in the hunt. We talked about this to open up the show. When you look at, Ohio State football season coming up, we're intrigued by the Oregon matchup, but outside of that, Ohio State has out-recruited and has basically outgrown the Big Ten, in my opinion. And there's really not a matchup in the Big Ten that I look forward to anymore. And please stop. I think you all are like robots when you've been trained to say Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, love Ohio State, Michigan. It is honestly okay to say that game just doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot right now. A loss means a whole hell of a lot. But you're supposed like beating Michigan. The reason beating Michigan used to be a big deal is because it could have gone either way every year. And don't do the whole, but then the rivalry, you never know. You never know. Look at the talent on the field. If Ohio State ever loses to Michigan, it is just as bad of a loss as losing to anyone else in the Big Ten. There are worse teams in the Big Ten than Michigan, but you shouldn't lose to Michigan, not because they're our rival and we don't want to lose to. It's because their roster does not come close to Ohio State's. It's really that simple. It used to be that rivalry meant a whole hell of a lot because you were on more of an equal playing ground. Your rosters were similar. Your recruits were similar. Michigan should be in the shallow end with the floaties on, while Ohio State's swimming in the deep end. That's basically where we're at. I've never been one to dive into the whole let's take shots at Michigan thing. I'm not taking shots at Michigan. I'm just pointing out straight facts. That program's a joke right now. They are not an equal to Ohio State. So if you are not an equal to Ohio State, how can it be a rivalry? And by the way, I am playing by the Dayton Flyers fan base's rules. I'm just saying. I've heard all of those bullet points before, but yet those same people that are Buckeye fans will also try to say that logic doesn't mean anything because, well, it's just a healthy right. No. Bottom line is the Ohio State season coming up, there's really not a game that anyone's circling saying, man, I'm really worried about that. Now, can Ohio State trip like they did against Iowa and against Purdue years ago? Yes, but you can't circle those on the schedule and know. Anyone out there that said, I knew they were going to lose to Purdue. I knew it. No, you didn't. Shut up. Go sit down and wait your turn until you're called on. Don't give me that mess. No one knew they were going to lose to Iowa. I did because JT Barrett was the quarterback and all that, but no, I'm just joking. But JT Barrett, pick 6, very first pass of the game. I mean, he threw a touchdown, technically.
I will say that I did call that Purdue loss.
I'm Kev Nash. I called the Purdue loss. Sit down. Don't talk until I call it.
That Purdue.
Yeah. But, okay, I say all of that to say, when you get to that season, you're just looking forward to watching your team, but you're not really looking forward to a great game. And let's be honest, you don't want a great game. Kev, we learned last year that you don't want close games. Was anyone happy about Northwestern playing Ohio State tough in the Big Ten title game? No.
Trey Sermon was.
Yeah, no kidding. But do you see what I mean by that? We act like, oh man, I'm looking forward to a good game. Well, why is it every time there's a good game, we end up feeling like we lost?
Right.
The Indiana game was a hell of a game. There was drama, there was intrigue, there was excitement, there was a few moments where like, man, Indiana might pull this off. Isn't that a good game? So every time we believe that we won a good game, we end up feeling like we lost. And why is that? It's because we should not be in good games because we are so much better than everyone else in the Big Ten. Like that Michigan game, I don't care. If you beat Michigan by a field goal, no one's going to say, oh, that was an instant classic. No, everyone's going to say, yeah, but Ohio State, they only beat a 3-loss Michigan team by a field goal, right? Like I'm not making this up. This is the real thinking. Like Michigan's not the typical team that is usually in this rivalry right now. So that's what I mean by that is there's no really good game on the schedule coming up. So you just look forward to seeing your team. With the Reds, every game is meaningful. Every game matters. Every game you're going to be on the edge of your seat. The Reds lost one game in the series to the Royals. They took 2 of 3. They won the series, but yet we felt like that one loss against the Royals, like, oh man, that was the end of the world because it matters. It means a ton. It's going to be a fun second half. Okay, as we close out the show today, Kev, give us some music.
Let's do it. What's my other music? I need my other music bed.
I messed with your whole page there.
I'll find it.
I'm good for nothing. Just got to email me. Got to tell me. Got to let me know. What's more likely to happen in 2021? All of these scenarios are for this upcoming season, whether it's college football, basketball, what have you.
All right, I'm ready. Let's do this.
What's more likely to happen this season, Kev? Notre Dame winning a playoff game or Michigan making the playoffs? Which is more likely to happen?
Notre Dame winning a playoff game. I just don't see Michigan beating Ohio State, and I don't see Michigan beating Penn State either. So that's 2 losses for sure. And if you have 2 losses, that means you're not playing in the Big Ten championship game. If you're not playing in the Big Ten championship game, there's no way you can make the college football playoff. So I'll go by default saying Notre Dame winning the playoff game.
So here's the deal. I'm going to say What's more likely to happen? Both of these aren't happening. I give a 0% chance to both. Like, there's a 0% chance either of these happen. But to play the game correctly, I don't trust Notre Dame in big games. I don't. I just, they don't play in a conference championship. I don't like it. As far as Michigan's concerned, they play Western Michigan. They play, the NIU Huskies, and they play Washington Huskies. Washington, they should win that game. They'll win that game. You're beating Western Michigan. You're beating NIU. You play Rutgers, and then there's always the gauntlet that is the Big Ten. But again, it's a gauntlet for Michigan because they are closer to the talent level of the Big Ten than Ohio State is. But let's just say that they go through the Big Ten undefeated and their only loss is Ohio State. Mm-hmm. There's a conversation to have there, because if they're undefeated heading into Ohio State, which not many people believe that'll be the case, but if they are, they'll be a top 10 team. And if their only loss is to Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. So I'm going to say there's a better chance that Michigan makes the playoff than Notre Dame wins the playoff game. Plus, a lot of reasons why Michigan shouldn't make the playoffs, but there's a lot of reasons why I would not pick Notre Dame to win a playoff game. And that's mainly because history says it won't happen. And recent history, like the last decade, of course, like there's just that, pressure that builds on that program. Plus, they're replacing Ian Book. If they had Ian Book still, like an experienced veteran quarterback, Kev, I would say, easily Notre Dame winning a playoff game is more likely to happen than Michigan making the playoffs. But right now, it's a 0%.
Got a veteran quarterback, Jack Cohn from Wisconsin. He a veteran, just not a veteran with them.
Oh, yeah, Wisconsin, a big quarterback school, huh? I'm just saying. All right, next up. The Ohio State Buckeyes and Ryan Day, which is more likely to happen. The Ohio State Buckeyes and Ryan Day winning a national championship this year, or Urban Meyer and the Jaguars making the playoffs in the NFL, which is more likely to happen.
Buckeyes winning the national championship. We did their record for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think I had them going, 3-14? So, OH.
I love Ohio State. Look. Look at this new shirt I got. I love it. It feels nice. It's a large, but I'm wearing larges. All right. I love Ohio State. The Jaguars making the playoffs is more likely to me than Ohio State winning a national championship. An inexperienced rookie, freshman, quarterback. Not really a freshman. He sat last year, but you see my point. No, technically he's a freshman because last year's it didn't count. It didn't count. So I've seen experienced quarterbacks fail for Ohio State in the last 10 years. I've watched JT Barrett fail. I have watched Dwayne Haskins fail. I have watched Justin Fields fail twice. And I'm supposed to believe that C.J. Stroud is going to lead this Buckeye team to a national championship. Look, I do think that what's most likely to happen, if I had to put money on one side or the other, Ohio State winning a championship is most likely. But at the same time, that means I need C.J. Stroud to beat Alabama's defense. I need C.J. Stroud to beat Clemson. I need C.J. Stroud to beat LSU or to beat whoever else is going to be waiting for him out there. This is a tough one. This is why I like this, because it's really like they're both unlikely scenarios, even though everyone's like Ohio State. I could easily see them winning a national championship. No, you don't. You want to believe that. Just fine. Buckeyes winning a national championship is more likely, but I think, let's be honest here, in the NFL, it's easier to make the playoffs in the NFL than it is to win a national championship in college football. If it was easy to win national championships, Alabama would not be the only one winning every other year at this point. So that's all I got to say. Trevor Lawrence won one. Dwayne Haskins, really good, didn't win one. Justin Fields, really good, didn't win one. So that's all I mean by that. I'm not crapping on Ohio State. I'm just saying it's really hard to win a national championship. We've seen the Jaguars went 3-13 one year, and they were a quarter away from getting to the Super Bowl the next with Blake freaking Bortles at quarterback. So, no, I'm sticking to my guns. The Jaguars making the playoffs is more likely to happen than the Buckeyes winning a championship, just because the odds say it's easier to make the playoffs in the NFL than it is to win a national championship in college football. I don't think I'm a hater for that. I think I brought up very good, logical, sound answers.
I don't, but that's cool. Next one.
I hate you. The Bengals will make the playoffs in 2021, or, which is more likely to happen, the Bengals will make the playoffs or the Browns will miss the playoffs.
Browns miss the playoffs is more likely to happen than the Bengals making the playoffs. Just look at, I just don't think the Bengals have enough to make the playoffs. But things can definitely go wrong for the Browns. You look at the year that they had expectations before, things flew off the handle. We could talk about it being the coach's fault or whatever. the fact of the matter is things flew off the handle. And not to mention that dreaded thing that everybody hates in all of sports, injuries. We have no idea what type of injury bug could hit that team this year. But the Cincinnati Bengals making the playoffs, highly unlikely.
The Browns. So, what's more likely to happen? The Bengals making the playoffs or the Browns missing the playoffs? What's more likely to happen than the other? The Browns missing the playoffs is more likely to happen than the Bengals missing the playoffs. I'm not poo-pooing on the Browns. I'm basically saying that that's how little I have faith in the Bengals making the playoffs. Like, the Browns are making the playoffs. The Browns are going to win that division. I'm not saying the Browns are going to win a Super Bowl, but they will be Super Bowl contenders. There is a better chance that the Browns miss the playoffs than the Bengals make the playoffs, and that's how confident I am that the Browns will make the playoffs. So there you go. This game makes no damn sense, but that's why I like it. It's so killer. All right, we only have 1 more minute. Last one here. This upcoming college basketball season, what is most likely to happen? The Wright State Raiders win their very first NCAA tournament game. What's more likely to happen? Wright State winning their first NCAA tournament game or UD missing the NCAA tournament? What's more likely to happen?
More likely to happen, UD missing the tournament. As much as I love the Raiders, even if they go undefeated in the Horizon regular season conference and win the conference tournament title and everything like that, and they're undefeated going into the tournament, they're still going to be ranked like a 13 seed at best, maybe a 12. If they're lucky, a 12.
That's too high. They ain't getting a 12.
And we don't even know if Loud Love's coming back yet. When are we going to get that information? Call up Young Shay. Call up Young O'Neal.
That stuff's getting annoying. Loud Love, like, let's go. Get your stuff together. Come on. Are you coming back or not? I mean, come on. I mean,
we going to love you either way.
I mean, are you really going to give up playing college basketball, play in Australia? I mean, like, let's be honest. You're not going to the NBA. So I don't want to hear that. Like, let's go.
Way to be positive, Kenner.
No, but I'm tired. I was being friendly at first. I want Loud and Love to come back. But this whole, man, I have a big decision to make. Just what are you talking about? Yeah, I'm sure you could make $20,000 over here instead of making $20,000 playing basketball overseas. Like, let's be real. So what's more likely to happen? Go Wright State. What's more likely to happen? The Flyers missing the NCAA tournament. And I still think this Wright State team coming up, if Loud and Love comes back, it'll be the best Wright State roster they've ever had. I think last year was the best team they ever had. Unfortunately, they had that huge meltdown in the tournament, right? I think that this will be the best roster they ever have coming up this season. If Loud and Love is, they're very, very good without Loud and Love. They'll be really, really good with Loud and Love. They have size all over the place if they have Loud and Love back. So I think what's more likely to happen, though, is that UD is going to miss the tournament mainly because they're super young. It's a roster of who's who. Very cool recruiting class coming in, but they're freshmen. So I'm not going to go there. They have a tough non-conference as well. It's a good quality non-conference. It's going to test them, but they're not getting an at-large bid, and history tells us they can't win that A-10 tournament. So they're not making the NCAA tournament, and on top of that, I still think Wright State has a good enough roster to get their first NCAA tournament win, but of course, seeding matters and all that stuff. We're out of time, folks. Have a great night. We'll do this again tomorrow. The voice of the Reds, Tommy Thrall, he's going to hang out with us on tomorrow's show. Have a great night.